weeks ago against the Green Bay Packers with that touchdown toss to the super athlete Dave Logan. And then, as he did just last week against the Super Bowl champion Pittsburgh Steelers with this toss to the great tight end Ozzie Newsome. But tonight, Sipe has another problem. Old graybeard Alan Page enjoying a brilliant year at age 35 with 8 sacks to his credit already, like this one against his former teammates, the Vikings. And of course, the defense of the Browns must cope with sweetness himself, Walter Payton, one of the truly great running backs in contemporary football history. So tonight, Cleveland plays host to the Bears.
Jam-packed Cleveland Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. Over 80,000 expected tonight. ABC's NFL Monday Night Football, the Chicago Bears against the Cleveland Browns. This is Frank Gifford along with Howard Cosell and Don Meredith. And this ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. And by Chevy Trucks and your Chevrolet dealer. New 81 Chevy Trucks, an important step ahead. And by Lanier Business Products, creators of the No Problem electronic typewriter, the typewriter that does more than just type.
This is an important game, and the standings represent the fact. In the AFC Central, Cleveland, with a victory tonight, can stay a game ahead of Pittsburgh and tie with Houston for the division lead. In the NFC Central, don't be misled by the Bears' record. Last year, and in 1977, they were at 3-5, and each time they drove to the playoffs. They're a late arriving team, and they're a tough physical team. And here is Frank Gifford to tell you about a man named Evans.
And Howard, you're right. If the Bears are going to duplicate last year's feat, moving to the playoffs, winning 7 of their last 8, they are betting everything on this young man, Vince Evans. Vince Evans, who took over from Mike Fitz 3 weeks ago. Strong arm. He can run out of the pocket. He adds an extra dimension to their attack. His statistics, a little over 45%, are misleading in the sense that he had to play catch-up behind Mike Fitz early in the season. Brian Sipe, he's all right, Don.
He certainly is. 1971 passing leader of the NCAA out of San Diego State. His coach there was none other than Don Coryell. I think we'll see that influence even tonight. Cleveland seems to be passing to set up their run. He's got the receivers and Logan, Rucker, Newsome, 2 Pruitts, Charlie White, and Calvin Hill. And he'll throw to all of them. He's got one problem in that the Bears are the number 2 pass defensive team in the NFC. I think it's going to be fun. Let's have a good one, Frank.
It's a very interesting matchup. Both these teams coming off big games a week ago. The Bears lost a game to the Eagles. They thought they should have won. And, of course, Cleveland beat Pittsburgh for the first time since '76. In the middle of it, a marvelous man in this game of football today. Keeps it in perspective. He's been in football all of his life. Graduated Erasmus Howell High School in Brooklyn. He coached at the high school level around the New York area. And his counterpart tonight, another man who has been in football all of his life. Played for Oklahoma A&M. Coached up in Canada and spent 7 years under Bud Grant at Minnesota, and now in his 3rd season, Neil Armstrong. The Chicago Bears have won the toss. The Chicago Bears, again, reminding you on the season, 3-5, Cleveland 5-3. The Bears with the win tonight can move into a tie with Minnesota at 4-5. They will still trail Detroit by 2 games. Detroit with a good year. They're 6-3. The Cleveland Browns with the win, of course, can tie the Houston Oilers. Dave Williams has dropped for the Chicago Bears. Back around the goal line. Here is Dave Williams. Fine athlete he is. Was a 9'7" sprinter as an option quarterback at the University of Colorado. And, of course, he filled in the gap for Roland Harper Harper before Harper returned several weeks ago. Don Cockcroft. He's been around a long time. His 13th year with the Cleveland Browns. Accurate, straightaway kicker, one of the few left in this game today. He will be kicking with the wind that, as you can see, is gusting. They are saying it will gust to 25 miles per hour tonight. It has blown the ball off the tee, and there you get an idea of what's happening here on the lakefront of Lake Erie at Cleveland Stadium. Don, over the years, we have seen some strange weather here in this stadium.
I think it's because it's so close to the lake, and there's one end of the stadium that is open, and boy, you can get some strange breezes in here. Many times you see the flags going crazy at one end of the field, and there's no wind and hardly at all on the other end.
Cockcroft will get it underway. The second half of the 1980 NFL season for the Bears and the Browns, and he boots it through the end zone with that prevailing wind behind, and the Bears will have 1st and 10 out at their own 20-yard line. And let's take a look at the Bears. You saw Vince Evans a moment ago. He opens at quarterback. Walter Payton, and this is almost unbelievable, is making his 72nd consecutive start for the Bears. A tremendously gifted athlete is Walter Payton. The offensive line, at tight end, the Bears have had a problem. They open there with a man who was playing fullback a year ago, Robin Earl. Out of the huddle, Brian Baschnagel, 84, will split to the right. James Scott, a speedy receiver, goes to the left of quarterback Vince Evans. 1st down and 10. Roland Harper, 35, one setback. Payton, 34, the other. And immediately Evans fires to Baschnagel, complete out to the 25-yard line. Taken there by number 22, Clarence Stott. There will be a gain of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4 defensively. And the Browns have had their problems. They have not been able to get the pass rush they'd like to get. That could hamper them as they try to maintain their standings in first place of the Central Division of the AFC. Those are your men in the secondary. 2nd down and 4. The ball at the 26-yard line. Ricky Watts, number 80. Another fine Bear receiver has come in. Split to the right. Second-year man out of Tulsa. He has good speed. Vince Evans likes to go deep to both Watts and Scott. Walter Payton moving along the line of scrimmage. He gets a yard out of it. It's going to be 3rd down and 3. Taken there by Bill Cowher, who is starting tonight, replacing R.L. Jackson, and those are big shoes, Howard, in which to replace. Jackson with a bruised knee.
Very big shoes. Jackson, of course, a past number 1 draft choice by the Browns, and he's come on to be one of the better linebackers in the league. Meantime, they stopped Payton on that run, and I like Sam Rutigliano's comment, Don. I'll give him his 100 yards if it takes him 40 carries to get it.
Yeah, that's right. He can have 100. That's right. Let him take 40 times to do it.
Vince Evans looking over his first 3rd down situation. Goes to Walter Payton. Walter Payton out-jukes himself. Goes down out at the 24-yard line. 4th down, and on will come the punting units for both ball clubs. And that will mean Bob Parsons, who will kick for the Bears. He puts it well up into the air. Bob Parsons, a former quarterback at Penn State. He has been known to run with it on occasion. We don't anticipate it now. Keith Wright is deep. There's Keith Wright.
Wind seems to have reversed itself at the moment, Frank.
It will do that here in Cleveland Stadium. Parsons bangs it. The wind holds it up. Keith Wright does not call for the fair catch, and he's taken there at the 41-yard line by Chris Haynes, hustling down there defensively for the Chicago Bears. And let's meet the Cleveland offense. Don told you about Brian Sipe, and indeed, he is on a big roll. He was magnificent against the Pittsburgh Steelers in a win last week, 27-26. The offensive line, well, is something special, beginning with Ozzie Newsome. Doug Deacon out at left tackle. Tommy Prothro, the personnel man for the Browns, says is blocking better than anyone in the game today. And indeed, they have protected Sipe. He has only been sacked 6 times all year, and he's thrown the ball 277 times. They've done a great job. Rucker in motion. Sipe to the air. Logan, completion. Logan struggling for the 1st down, which he gets at the 48-yard line of the Chicago Bears. Terry Schmidt finally pulls the big man, Dave Logan, down. Let's meet the defensive unit. And again, Alan Page is the man that has made the Bears go thus far this season. 8 sacks, over 100 sacks in his 14-year career. He's been a great football player. There is your defensive secondary. 2 hard-hitting safeties in Doug Plant, 46, and Gary Fencing. Offensively for Cleveland, they have changed in the middle of their offensive line because of another injury. R.E. Jackson was playing right guard. Joe DeLamanure has moved to the left. And here comes Mike is taken down. It was Mike Hartenstein defensively for the Chicago Bears, and there's a loss. Back to midfield, a loss of nearly 4 yards. It'll be second down and 14.
Just a really good reaction here by Mike Hartenstein. The block was not a good block on him, but it was an adequate block. He made a great reaction to it, moved to the outside, and his quickness brought him down for a loss.
Hartenstein, of course, involved in a bit of a controversy last week. The Bears against the Philadelphia Eagles, and Hartenstein leveling the Eagles quarterback, Ron Jaworski. At midfield, second down, 14. Reggie Rucker split to the left. Dave Logan flank to the right, and Seif will go up on top. Over the middle, complete to Greg Pruitt, and Greg Pruitt, who came back with a big performance against the Steelers a week ago as a receiver, gets inside the 40, short of the first down. It will be third down and 3.
That, of course, is one of the great values of Greg Pruitt. An undersized man, but a powerfully built man, much stronger than you would think. He didn't practice this week. There were those who called him questionable. He said, "I will play." And he's great coming out of the backfield, as he is, too, a slippery and great runner.
You saw him replaced there by Calvin Hill, who's the guy they can bring in these passing situations. He's been a big help to this team all year.
Like the Dallas Cowboys use Preston Pearson, the Cleveland Browns use Calvin Hill, and Brian Seif does not like the alignment that he has with the play that was called. He calls timeout rather than make the error at a critical point with 3rd and 3. A move to the sidelines, and we'll be back in a moment. Brian Seif comes back into the huddle. He's pulled things together after having a conference over the sidelines. 3rd down and 3 for the Cleveland Browns. The ball just inside the Bears' 40-yard line. The Browns' first possession of the game. The Bears were unable to gain a first down in their first possession. Nearly 5 minutes of the first quarter has expired. No score. Ozzie Newsome split out wide to the right. That's what he can do. He can be a wide receiver split. Over the middle, Calvin Hill, complete first down down to the 25-yard line.
Oh, boy.
And Calvin Hill does it again.
It looks so easy.
That's just what Don talked about. This is such a wise football player. The Browns intend to keep this man long after his playing days are over.
Look at him come around the corner, Howard. There's nobody really there. So, again, you've got to say, all right, they either made a defensive mistake or that was the...
he picked the spot.
He picked the spot. They were set linebackers after him, and he didn't pick one up, found the opening.
The 1st and 10 is at the 25-yard line of the Bears. Draw play. And Mike Pruitt takes it inside the 20, down close to the 18-yard line. And this is really the basic Bears, or rather Browns offense. They'll bring you with that draw. They don't really feature the running game anymore. They like to throw it, but they'll run that draw often enough so that your pass rush has to stay honest. They have to consider the draw before they can come with the rush. And Seif uses it to perfection.
It's a real good point, because if you can throw as well as they do, that draw really is your most effective running play.
Second down 4. Ball on the 18-yard line. Up the middle goes Mike Pruitt, and Mike Pruitt battles down close to the 15-yard line. He'll be just short of a first down, I do believe.
I think the Browns' development as a fine team is one of the most interesting developments in the National Football League, Don. They don't have the great names. Mike Pruitt didn't come as highly advertised as Greg. He came out of Purdue, and yet he is now one of the solid running backs in the league. Same with Dave Logan, whom I consider one of the super athletes in the league. Nobody, when they talk about wide receivers, raves about Dave Logan, and clearly he's one of the best.
3rd down, less than 1. Miller in motion. Mike Pruitt. Close to the first down. I believe he has it. Again, it will depend upon the mark, the forward progress. And when you speak of Mike Pruitt, you recall what a great player he was a year ago, Howard, when Greg Pruitt went down with a knee injury. This man came on, carried the load, shouldered all the running responsibilities, and galloped for over 1,200 yards.
And not only that, Frank, you know how good he is on those short yardage situations when he can bust it for you for 60, 70 yards.
The Browns get the first down. They're inside the 15-yard line of the Bears. Seif to the air, wide open. Reggie Rucker, touchdown, making it look so easy.
Reggie Rucker.
Flag is down at the line of scrimmage.
Well, we'll have to check that, of course. It's going to be called back.
I was going to mention Reggie Rucker as a holding, but when you were talking about Dave Logan, Reggie Rucker, it's a slightly different situation, but he was tried in several other teams and wound up here. If Logan, Logan has already caught a pass. I think he has set a new record for consecutive games in which a pass has been caught. That was set by Reggie Rucker, 33. So Logan now has that record.
Holding number 64, offense, still first down.
I mentioned that Joe DeLamelure had moved over to the left side tonight because of an injury to the starting left guard for the Browns. DeLamelure playing on the left side, where in the first 8 games of the season had worked on the right side. R.E. Jackson is on the right side. He's more familiar with that spot. First down and 20. Ball inside the 25-yard line of the Bears. Sight under pressure, gets it off. Calvin Hill. Calvin Hill barrels down close to a first down inside the 5-yard line.
That's terrific.
It is. This team can move the ball on anybody.
Look, he got hit really pretty good that time, and you can see he's saying, again, a very similar play what we saw earlier. Out of the backfield, swing over the middle. Good concentration by Sight. Get the ball right in the middle. Nobody's there. So you've got to figure that, again, somebody's either messed up or, man, that was Muckenstern. You saw number 58, the linebacker, who was trailing in a couple of yards. That's too late there. If you can't stay closer than that, you're not going to cover it.
Frank, you know what Sight says about Calvin Hill. He says he is to our team what Joe Morgan is to the Astros, what Pete Rose is to the Phillies. And I think it's a good description.
That's a very good analogy. Yeah, he's the kind of guy you want on your side.
That was Calvin's 16th reception of the year, but he also has caught 4 touchdown passes. First and goal, you saw it indicated by our referee tonight, Dick Jorgensen. A quick toss. Greg Pruitt. Greg Pruitt gets out of the arms of Lenny Walterscheid and turns it inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, that's the kind where you can't really question a back, but you saw him try to dip to the inside to set up an outside move, and Walterscheid didn't go for it. So if Greg was going to make the most yardage out of that play, you can say now, in retrospect, cut it to the inside and go up, pick up the couple. He lost a yard on that.
And had Walterscheid been able to bring Pruitt to the ground, it would have been a much bigger loss. But as it is, the ball is now at the 6-yard line, second down and goal. Keith Wright, number 89, is split to the left. The third-year man from Memphis State. Dave Logan is up there at the top of your screen, and Ozzie Newsome is the tight end. Firing intended for Logan. Covering there quickly was Terry Schmidt. Dave Logan, 6'4", 215-pounder, big target for Brian Sight.
Very easy to see, but he had Greg Pruitt open that time out in the, you see Greg Pruitt at the bottom of your screen, number 34, out to the outside. Nobody was there. He's trying to force the ball into Logan, and coming over the inside, pretty good defensive cover.
Good defensive play by Terry Schmidt. Third down and go. 8 minutes, 12 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Long drive for the Cleveland Browns. This is their very first possession. Rucker split to the left. Dave Logan again. And quickly, the ball is thrown to the air to Ozzie Newsome, but a whistle had blown.
You saw quickly the Bears were trying to call timeout. They knew they had a mix-up in their defense. They had no one out there.
That's a timing play, by the way, between Ozzie Newsome and Brian Sight.
Was called by the Bears before the snap. No play.
Nobody was out there to cover Newsome.
And it's a play in which the Cleveland Browns were able to beat the Steelers a week ago. Sight lays it up. Ozzie Newsome, also a super athlete, can go high and bring it down.
And he is a super athlete.
Frank mentioned earlier, he's the tight end, but he's also the kind of tight end not terribly unlike Winslow from San Diego. You put him out in the flanker, you haven't really lost much at all.
That's right. You've got a guy who's a deep threat.
We kept saying at our first game up here, throw the ball to Newsome. We kept saying throw the ball to Newsome. And they never did.
Cockcroft ready, Don.
Yeah, he seemed like he's been ready for ever since I can remember.
But he has been around.
He has, yeah.
He's been here 13 years. Consistent. He's 8 of 12 this year as he looks out.
He looks older than Art Modell, the owner of the Browns, who looks very old.
You think so, huh? No, I don't think so. Not really. Art just has his hair streaked, that's all.
Here's Cockcroft. Really only the second Browns place kicker. Although Sam Baker kicked for Cleveland when Lou Groza was hurt a few years ago. Groza, by the way, going for 22 years, and Cockcroft now in his 13th year.
Well, the Browns had 2 touchdowns called back. Let's see if they can make it 3.
Third and go. Ozzie Newsome again. Split wide to the right. The 2 wide receivers, Logan and Rucker, bottom of your screen. Sight times it out to Logan, and a pass that I think Logan would probably probably tell you he should have caught. Allen Ellis defending, but Sipe had it in the right spot, and here comes the field goal team.
He
Could have caught it, but it would have been a tough catch. The ball was thrown a little bit behind him. You see, it's one of those timing things, but he had to adjust his route. It would have been catchable, but it would have been a tough one.
Should have caught it, Don.
Ah, well, what can I say?
Cockcroft moves out. It'll be a 23-yard attempt.
They looked good on this drive, didn't they? They moved that ball really well.
A little trap up the middle, a little draw, a little quick flip to Calvin Hill. But they have to settle for 3. A tenacious Bear defense and some miscues by the Cleveland Browns, and they can only put 3 on the scoreboard with 8:03 remaining in the first quarter. We'll be back in a moment. 23-yard field goal. Don Cockcroft and the Cleveland Browns trying to stay abreast of the Houston Oilers in the Central Division of the AFC. We're on the scoreboard. There's Dave Williams. The last time Cockcroft hit the ball, he kicked it in and out of the end zone. He has, again, that gusty prevailing wind behind him, although it is swirling all over the stadium. Now it would appear to be working against Cockcroft. But then again, that's Cleveland. Cockcroft goes off the side of his foot and is taken there by Robin Earl, the big tight end, who was a running back, as I pointed out earlier, and Robin Earl takes the bad kick of Cockcroft up to the 29-yard line.
Now look at big number 81. You got to think of Doug Atkins. Remember how long he wore that number? Big Doug.
About the same size.
Oh, man.
Oh, he was huge.
Big Doug, number 81.
Earl is 6'5" and 240.
Atkins was frightening. On the pass rush, he was frightening.
He used to jump over those guys, remember?
Oh, he looked like a bus. First and 10, the Bears, with Evans a quarterback. They get to Walter Payton and Roland Harper, but Evans to the air. Flag is down, you saw, and Payton does not hold on.
Well, he was trying to hit a little quick cut over the middle, and they had him covered. So give that defense some credit there. They had him closed off pretty good.
Illegal motion on the part of the Bears.
Now that's R.L. Jackson, the young R.E. Jackson, forgive me. He's the young man who's got a little bit of a knee problem himself, but who's playing tonight.
Actually, he's playing in place of Henry Shepard, who is...
Illegal motion, number 80, offense, still first down.
also had some leg problems.
Wide receiver Ricky Watts, the wrong place at the wrong time, or moving out of that place at the wrong time. Illegal motion. First down 15. Ball just inside the 25-yard line of the Bears. Huschnagel split out to right number 84, and Payton drops back into the pro set. Evans again. Has a time, and he overthrows Walter Payton. A hurried toss by Vince Evans, making his third start this year for the Bears. A year ago, he had taken over from Mike Pitts, started 3, and then suffered a staph infection and was on the injured reserve and really in very tough shape for the last 11 games of the season.
Hey, number 85, 1952, when Giff was in his prime as a defensive back.
That's right, I came into this league at 12.
Somebody's got a scoop.
Second down 15. Ricky Watts splits out to the right. Scott, top of your screen. That's Robin Earl in motion. They use him like a tight end, even though he comes in motion. This is Payton. And Payton covered there quickly by pursuing Dick Ambrose and Charlie Hall. Charlie Hall, number 59.
This team is starting slowly in this game, but again, don't be misled. This is a tough physical team that feels it was robbed by an official's call from upsetting the Eagles a week ago when they lost 17-14.
You hit on the head, Howard. You know, they like to calculate things and how many games the team wins after they play the Bears a week later. That's an interesting stat the Bears keep.
They can kill you.
Third down 11. Dave Williams, 22, replaces Roland Harper. Evans rolls out. Lofts one way over the intended receiver, James Scott. That'll bring up fourth down, and the Bears have still to make the first down.
That's some pretty good pressure that time by Lyle Alzado, who came in from the outside, put a little pressure, but the ball was really hurried and way overthrown.
Bob Newsom's out, and Keith Wright is in for the Browns. Keith Wright positioning himself around his 33 or 34 yard line. Keith Wright, who had a really fine year last year until he suffered a knee injury, is back in his form again. And Wright takes it at the 35, tries to move over behind the picket line, and is dropped at the 33-yard line by Chris Haynes. A 36-yard punt by Bob Parsons that was held high for the wind, by the wind, and allowed Haynes to get down on the coverage. We'll be back. 6:45 remaining the first. Cleveland Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, and the crowd here tonight could go close to 82,000. Standing room only has been sold. And the Browns, with 3 points on the scoreboard in their very first possession, have a 1st and 10. Ball out close to the 33-yard line, and Sight takes the draw to hold the line. Oh, yes. Over the middle, complete. Ozzie Newsome. Inside the 40 at the 38, and once again, the offensive line, the Browns, is giving Brian Sipe all the time he needs.
Well, I tell you, that Doug Deacon is really blocking. There's an end zone replay done.
Well, it's just terrific timing. You see Newsome 82 at the top of your screen, cut across. The ball is perfectly thrown. He made a nice cut. That's awfully hard to defense against. You know, another thing, you talk about the good protection. Frank, what are the stats? How many times have the Bears sacked the quarterback this year? A lot. I know, 28
times.
28 times.
8 for Alan Page.
That was 5 less than the league leader through 8 games. Of course, Oakland had 33, but the Bears are right up there with the best. On 1st and 10, Mike Pruitt uses his 225 pounds to get inside the 35 to the 33, a gain of 5. 2nd and 5, and Lee Coons, who had to start at middle linebacker for the Bears. Number 57 was in on the stop. Tom Hicks, the regular middle linebacker, out with a bruised shoulder.
I mentioned Deacon, another interesting factor in the development of the Browns. Guy was a tight end at Illinois.
Yes.
Before he came into the pros. This club has been put together rather uniquely.
Rucker split wide to the right. Dave Logan, bottom of your screen. 2nd down, 5. Sight goes down, and it's Alan Page, his 9th sack of the year.
He's unreal.
That's Alan Page's 9th sack of the year, and that's the 7th time this season that Brian Sight has been sacked, and the loss is all the way back to the 42-yard line.
I'm told that the Bears give you around 50 to 60 different defensive looks. That was actually... It's not Page that came in there, was it? Wasn't that Arkansas?
There
he is. There he comes on through. The ball bounces out. But Page is the guy that's responsible for calling the different defensive sets. You'll see probably more defensive sets from the Bears than anybody in the league this year.
3rd down and 13. Browns at the Bears' 42-yard line.
They got him that time.
Flags fall. You saw the Bears leaping.
A free throw.
Free throw, as they say, and it'll be brought back. That the Bears were offside unless they were drawn off.
Page is one of the most remarkable people in this league, in the whole business. As you know, he's now a practicing lawyer. I saw him today. He was going out to take a walk, go over to Higbee's department store, buy some things, and with that gray beard now, I said, Alan, you're shrinking. He looks lighter every time I see him. He said, it only makes me better. It's studying the law.
That's it. The law, well, they say he weighs 225. I think that might be pushing a little bit.
I think it is.
But that's awfully small for a defensive tackle these
We
days.
have a multiple foul. Offsides, number 99. Defense, decline. Holding, defense, accepted. First down.
Well, the Bears were able to do just about everything on that play. And what it boils down to is the Browns have a first down inside the Bears' 37-yard line. 4:40 remaining in the first quarter. The Browns on top, 3-0. 23-yard field goal down Cockrock. The Bears having trouble adjusting their personnel.
Yeah, they got too many men on the field.
And it goes out to Greg Pruitt. And he has running room, and he gets down for the first down at the 21-yard line. Vinny Waldenscheid took Pruitt out of bounds, but you were right, Don. They did not call it, but there was a Bear sprinting for the sideline. He didn't get there.
He didn't get there, and I think through that confusion, again, they had a confusion in their defense. I would really say, not knowing exactly what they're trying to do, but they've missed defensive assignments at least 4 or 5 times already tonight.
And you do not do that against Brian Sipe. He reads the defense as well as any quarterback in this league. Out Off to the right goes Logan. In the slot up there is Reggie Rucker. And moving in close is big Dave Logan, bottom of your screen. On 1st and 10. Sight goes down again, and it's Dan Hampton again, this time in there on sight.
That's a big fella from Arkansas that's really adapted well to that defensive end position. They had him come in to try for the defensive tackle, which he liked very well. The defensive end position is more difficult. Comes into the outside. Man, he had a good outside rush that time. No way to stop him. Dan Hampton out of Arkansas.
He's a killer. During the course of this game, you'll see the Bears use, Don mentioned the many defensive fronts, what they call their 55 defense, with only one linebacker, number 55, Otis Wilson, 5 men in the rush line.
2nd down, 20.
Look out.
Fired in there and is picked off by Jerry Muckenstern. Intended there for Logan. He laterals out. And down the sidelines goes Walterscheid. And so the Bears, who have been noted over the years for the defensive play, get the turnover with 3:55 remaining in the first quarter. A ball that should not have been tried to be forced in there.
Frank, this ball really was thrown right into a crowd. That was good defensive play. They came back there. I think really that Sight had a little pressure from the inside. That's a good alert move right there. The Bears last year in the last part of the season picked up 22 interceptions. They need to do that right now. There's one of them.
And of course, they won 7 of 8 games that last half last year. Walterscheid, who took that lateral and moved it out close to the 30-yard line, where the Bears will have a 1st and 10 at their 29-yard line. Vince Evans, who has been erratic thus far passing. He's throwing against a gusty wind. He adjusts his tight end, Robin Earl, over the left side. And hands off to Roland Harper. And Harper with a pickup of 2 or maybe 3. We'll call it 2nd down and 8.
What you have to remember, though, putting the game in perspective, is that the Browns scored 2 touchdowns, neither of which counted. They had to settle for a field goal. Now they were poised to strike for another TD. They got intercepted. The Bears are hanging in there. Sooner or later, the Bears figure to put something together. And that's what the Bears do and the way they play.
2nd down and 8. Scott, the speedy wide receiver, to the left. Quarterback Vince Evans. Looking for the screen, and his screen man doesn't get out, and Vince Evans has to throw it away. He was trying to go to Walter Payton on the screen, and Payton was held up. It'll be 3rd down and 8. We remind you about NCAA college football, a doubleheader coming up on Saturday, and it's a beauty. Beginning live at 12 Eastern, the first game will feature Georgia against Florida, and you'll see Georgia's sensational freshman running back Herschel Walker, who exploded for 225 yards against South Carolina this weekend, plus other regionals, including Arkansas against Baylor. Remember, Baylor's undefeated in Southwest Conference play. Then stay tuned for the second half of the doubleheader featuring USC at Stanford, and what a rivalry that's been over the years. Check the local listings for the game and the time in your area over most of these ABC stations. 3rd down 8. The blitz is on. And this is Payton behind his screen. Payton does his thing and comes up short of the 1st down, however, out at the 36-yard line. Clinton Burrell and Bill Cower were there defensively for the Browns.
Dick Ambrose was the linebacker that was blitzing. You saw right before Evans got the ball, he put some pressure on Evans, flipped the ball out to Payton, but he had too much pursuit coming from the inside and didn't make it for the 1st down.
Parsons against the wind. Keith Wright up around about the 27-yard line of the Browns with 2:26 remaining in the first quarter. This time Parsons hits a beauty. It drives Keith Wright all the way back to the 18. Tries to get outside once again, and he does not do so. He's dropped to the 23-yard line. And the Browns offensive unit moves out onto the field. We'll be back in a moment.
This is Frank.
2:14 remaining in the first quarter of this game between the Browns and the Bears, and we have been told that it's beginning to sprinkle just a little bit. If you call that a sprinkle, we would call it a rain in most places, but again, this stadium, hard by Lake Erie, gets some peculiar weather. We played a game here one time. We started in the sunshine. It snowed about 8 inches, and we finished it in the sunshine. Cleveland, 1st and 10. Ball at their own 24-yard line. Inside handoff, and there's Mike Pruitt, and Mike Pruitt out over the 25. Goes to the 27-yard line. A gain of 4 to the second down and 6. Charles White, the Heisman Award winner and rookie first-round draft pick of the Browns this past season, is in the lineup, number 25. Sight. This year, first in the AFC after 8 games, passing just under 59%. Of course, last year, tied with Brogan of New England with 28 touchdown passes. Mike Pruitt, he finds an opening on the right side and bowls forward for a first down at the 35-yard line. Taken there by Lenny Walterscheid. But again, you see the inside strength of Mike Pruitt, and you also see that he was being assisted by someone internally there with a little hold.
Cleveland is making an uncommon number of mistakes, and Rutigliano is openly unhappy about it. They should have had more points on the board, as we've noted, than they have. So far, they've had whatever offense has existed in the game.
Holding, number 64, offense, still second down.
Now, that's unusual. An experienced man like Lamalure. Yeah, it is. This is the second time.
He went 8 weeks on that right side, and he had to move over to the left side because of the injury, as you noted, to Shepard. And Robert E. Jackson is over there right guard where Lamalure usually is. It's a different stance. Second down, 15. Ball at the 18-yard line of the Browns. Inside handoff, Greg Pruitt struggles out close to the 24-yard line. Gain of about 6. It'll be third and long. Gary Fensick is there defensively.
He was shaken up a bit, Fensick. The way he tackles with such abandon, he could get hurt at any time.
We're talking about Deacon being the tight end. Robert E. Jackson was a fullback at Duke. They brought him and moved him into that offensive line.
One of your big fullbacks at 260.
That's right. Give me the ball and look out.
Third down, 10. Ball at the 23-yard line. Dave Logan split to the left. Sight now as we note the flags, the wind against him. Logan has the first down, and this is what Logan did last week to Pittsburgh, catching 8 passes against the Steelers, and most all of them were clutch catches. He can really come down with it.
What you don't see in this picture was a delayed safety blitz, but you see that whatever it was, Sipe read it real well. They're hanging in there awfully tough trying to keep up with Logan. That was Allen Ellis, number 48 from the outside. But Logan, we've talked about so many times, he has that ideal size for the outside receiver. He's the big, tall kind of guy that's got just enough speed to make you respect him deep. That time he cut into the middle and was wide open.
The ball marked just over the 36-yard line of the Browns. Look out. Sipe again, quickly dumps it off to Charles White because Sipe was under tremendous pressure by Dan Hampton coming around the block of Cody Reason, and that's the end of the first quarter. So Brian Sipe, with opportunities, was only able to put 3 points on the scoreboard. We'll be back at Cleveland Stadium in a moment. Back in Cleveland, where the 5-3 Cleveland Browns are battling the Chicago Bears, 3-5. The Bears, of course, desperately need this game to stay in their pursuit of Detroit, which is 6-3 in the Central Division of the NFC. The Browns need a victory to stay tied with Houston in the AFC Central Division. Second down and 8. Ball at the 38-yard line of the Browns. Going for Logan, and again into a crowd. Fensick timed his hit with the arrival of the ball, and it's incomplete.
Let's take a look at the first quarter stats. They reflect Cleveland's domination of the game offensively. Not a single first down for Chicago, but the score does not reflect that domination, and that's the key. Cleveland mistakes on the offense have kept it close, 3-0. In particular, 2 holding penalties leveled against Joe DeLamalure, who's playing on the opposite side of the line from where he usually plays because of an injury to Shepard.
Third down and 8. Of course, there have been 2 sacks of Brian Sipe in the first quarter. One by Hampton and one by Page. Hampton again, pressuring Sipe back into the pocket, and he has room to get the first down. Spots the yard marker, directs a little bit of traffic, and Brian Sipe moves up to the 49-yard line. First down, Cleveland.
Good example, I think, that time of experience taking advantage of a little bit of inexperience or youth. Hampton that time was just pushed to the outside as Cody Rison was the defensive blocker on him, but from Sipe's standpoint, stepped right up. Hampton kept going to the outside. You saw him directing traffic with that left hand. So you just bump that guy, and I'm going to go out of bounds and get a first down.
Sipe can kill you. Can you imagine a quarterback like that, a 13th round draft choice?
It happens.
Taxi squad for a couple of years behind Mike Phipps, who is a backup man tonight to Vince Evans for the Chicago Bears. Interesting twist.
Yeah, and the Bears.
Inside handoff, Mike Pruitt, and he is met there and collected by Jim Osborne. It'll be a loss of a yard. It'll be second down and 11. Watching these two teams go at it. Well, we've got an interesting game coming your way next Sunday night. And boy, I don't know if you've been watching Earl Campbell. He is really something. He had a couple of 200-yard games. 157, I believe it was, yesterday against a tough Denver defense. And, of course, Steve Grogan is having a superb year for New England. We'll be there in Houston next Monday night. Ball has been marked now back to the 47-yard line of the Browns. It's second down and 12. Ozzie Newsome, bottom of your screen, split like a wide receiver. Sight.
Underthrown.
Looking for Rucker. Underthrown. Incomplete. It'll be third down and 12.
Frank, you were speaking of Sipe got his shot when Mike Phipps was hurt. He came in and played. So when they traded Phipps to the Bears, they got a #1 choice. And with that choice, they chose Ozzie Newsome. So, in fact, you got Ozzie Newsome for Mike Phipps. Not a bad deal.
And Mike Phipps, of course, had a couple of fine years with the Bears. He staggered last year and was replaced by Evans. And then Evans had the staff problem. And Phipps came back in to direct the Bears to many of their victories the second half of that season, 7 out of 8, as a matter of fact. Calvin Hill is in the lineup, number 35. Sight. And you saw the wind catch that one. It was intended for Dave Logan, and it took a nosedive, incomplete. Fourth down.
So, Chicago, on balance, will probably again have very poor field position, which hasn't helped their offense either.
Johnny Evans comes into the lineup to do the punting. He's a backup quarterback from North Carolina State, and you're looking at Lenny Walterscheid. We didn't see him a few weeks ago returning punts against Tampa Bay. He was injured then, but he's back now. And he's back about his 18-yard line. And the wind caught the ball of Johnny Evans. And Walterscheid did not want to try and handle it. And so the Bears will begin deep in their own territory at the 15-yard line. And now, Vince Evans will have the wind, or at least most of the time, behind his back. Vince Evans steps into the Bears quarterback huddle. First down and 10. Vince Evans, a 6th-round draft pick 4 years ago. Coming to the Chicago Bears with his credentials from USC, where he'd been the most valuable player in the Rose Bowl in USC's victory that year over Michigan, 14-6.
Interesting stipulation in his contract. He said, you draft me, I want to play quarterback. They said, okay.
Defense is the roar of 80,000 plus partisan Cleveland Brown fans. Evans on first down. Flag is down. Evans lays it up. Intended for Ricky Watts. He was covered by Scott, and another flag is dropped.
I think they called it on Ricky Watts for pushing off.
I think they did. If they had not, I don't think I've seen a better plea answered. He was saying, give me a break, give me a break. They did. They penalized him.
You mentioned the stipulation in Vince Evans' contract, Don. He was able to get that stipulation because Canada was all over him, with a huge deal for him to play football in Canada. So the Bears succumbed.
Holding on the defensive end. Pass interference, number 80. Offense. Penalties offset. Still first down.
All right, let's see if we can determine once again what pass interference really is. You can see that Clarence Scott is running right there with him, and here's a slight push off, and he said, wait a minute, look, I'm trying for the ball, I'm trying. That's not even a very good acting job, though, really. You know what I mean? That's why he's no, I'm not going to buy that.
Offsetting fouls. First and 10. Ball at the 15-yard line of the Bears. Walter Payton Payton runs in their crowd over the left side. Marshall Harris, the bottom of that pile, getting help from Bill Cower, number 53, who's in there again. We remind you, for an injured R.L. Jackson.
To quickly finish that story, Don, because Evans was being sought after with a huge offer by Canada, the Bears subscribed to his demand for I will play quarterback only. That provision is no longer in his contract.
Well, that really, and I can also add that he wasn't playing quarterback, and he volunteered to return punts for them.
He's a good athlete. He really is that. He's actually in the mold of what you think Canadian League quarterbacks really are. He can be very mobile.
Second down and 8, and here comes Payton. And Payton tripped up by Dick Ambrose, falling out close to the 20-yard line, where it'll be third down and 5.
Cleveland defensively has been playing very effectively. They've done two things. First, Evans has been ineffective. He's been erratic. He has not thrown well. Second, they've closed down on Waller Payton.
Well, they just didn't do anything the first quarter. You saw the stats. They made no first downs, and certainly you'd be king on Payton when you're going to play the Bears. And I don't blame him at all. But the thing that Payton brings with him, of course, he always brings that heavy burden in life, which is potential, and then he can break it open and go right there all the way, 80 yards.
Third and 5. The ball inside the Bears' 20-yard line. Evans, he has the time. He has the receiver, and he hit him. James Scott, he did not hold on. It would have been a first down at the 35.
I think Clay Matthews thought he had that one in his hands, too.
He really did.
Yeah, he was right there in a position.
I think Frankie screened Scott's vision here. Matthews did. Well, he touched it, too.
I think he did, too. I think he was a slight tip because the ball went right through Matthews' hands. But, again, you like to see receivers catch those because that's what they paid the money to do, and the ball was certainly catchable.
We're looking at Keith Wright. Awaiting the punt of Bob Parsons, who now, as we look at the flag, will be kicking against the wind. A non-spiraling punt that takes a bare bounce and taken by Keith Wright.
Could be trouble. Nope, they got it.
And Keith Wright tries to get around the corner, and he goes down in the arms of Dave Williams at Cleveland's 42. They'll have good field position. Cleveland Browns leading 3-0 on a 23-yard field goal by Don Cockcroft. We have 11:40 remaining in the first half, and we'll be right back. And, of course, the 5th anniversary of Good Morning America going on all this week.
Happy birthday to Good Morning America.
Yeah, nice party Thursday afternoon in New York. I'll be there. See my old friend David. There's sweetness. He hasn't been able to get loose yet. Chicago offense has been downright terrible. They're last in the NFC in passing.
That really puts just the added pressure on the running game. And that's asking an awful lot of Walter Payton and that offensive line.
Cleveland with the first down at their own 41-yard line. Sight. They'll put it in the air for him. Under pressure, it's going to be picked off. Muckenstern comes up with another interception. He's looking to lateral again, but this time he wisely holds on, goes down at the 41-yard line, and this is the break that the Bears are playing for. Now again, a flag is down.
I don't believe it.
Flag down right at midfield, which would indicate there had been some sort of altercation between a receiver and a defender. And it works against the Bears.
They have been on fencing.
It's kind of evening up a little bit, as they say, because we saw the Browns score twice in the first quarter. Both of them were called back, but that is a big break for the Browns right there.
Illegal contact, number 48, defense.
Nope.
First down.
Ellis.
Alan Ellis. And rather than the Bears having the ball first and 10 at the Browns' 41-yard line, Cleveland has a first down and 10 out close to the 47-yard line. Rucker split to the right. To the left top of your screen, Dave Logan. Charles White, 25. Mike Pruitt, 43. Those are your setbacks, and this is Mike Pruitt. Mike Pruitt bangs up close to midfield. A gain of a couple. It was second down and 8. Bottom of that pile is Jerry Muckenstern.
And again, pretty good defensive end play by Dan Hampton, who came in from his side, just pushed the guys all down and closed up the middle pretty well.
There's an injured Cleveland Brown, and we have an official's timeout indicated.
Looks to me like they've lost the contact lens over there.
Don Hampton captain is going to become a superstar.
He certainly has all that equipment that you keep. He was drafted, I think he was the 4th player picked in '79. Maybe it's not.
Well, I believe they are either searching for a tooth or a contact lens. We'll remind you, though. You know, on the last 2 national election nights, ABC News accurately called more of the results first, more than the other 2 networks combined. And tomorrow, we'll join ABC News for up-to-the-minute election returns with Frank Reynolds, Ted Koppel, Barbara Walters, Max Robinson, and the entire 80-vote team of correspondents. Plus, you'll get the expert insight and analysis of political columnist Tom Wicker and George Will, moderated by Robert McNeil of the McNeil-Lehrer Report. For different, innovative election night coverage, the way you've never seen it before, watch ABC News Election Night returns tomorrow, and it'll begin at 7 o'clock.
Did you see that special expanded edition of Issues and Answers yesterday? Fascinating. Just fascinating.
Sorry to say, I don't think it's more than a contact lens or a tooth. I'm afraid that Doug Deacon hurt his knee. He was down on his knees. I thought he was looking for one of those two. That's really going to hurt them there because they're getting a little weak in that offensive line already.
Last guy in the world they can lose. The way he's been blocking.
A Pro Bowler from a year ago, and Dave Deacon comes to the sidelines. And into the huddle steps number 79, Jerry Sullivan. A veteran who plays all spots along that Cleveland line. Doug Deacon now being treated on the sidelines, and we'll get whatever information we can receive from the bench to you as quickly as possible. 2nd down and 8. The ball just short at midfield. The Browns in possession. They have a 3-0 lead. Quickly, Sight goes to Rucker. Rucker almost breaks it as he gets down to the 34-yard line before Terry Schmidt can pull him down by his jersey.
I love to see that kind of execution between a quarterback and a receiver because both of them have to read the blitz. And both of them did. You can see Sight immediately gear out to Rucker. Rucker made his move, quick move to the inside. And this one where he can almost slide by. You're right. That was a Terry Schmidt, number 44, trying to get that outside move. Rucker made a quick move to the inside, picked up a big first down.
10 minutes remaining in the half, and the Browns on the move at the 34-yard line of the Bears. And off, Mike Pruitt, and Mike Pruitt explodes over the left side, inside the 30 to the 29. Gain of 4. It'll be 2nd down and 6.
Right side was the strong side. They crossed them up. They ran left.
One of the things, too, that I think most teams try to do against Alan Page is that he is small. He does rely on his quickness, his experience. So if they can, they love to go right straight at him in that area. So they try to overpower him and not let him have much room to work with. That time he saw him with the one-on-one. They were able to slide right by.
Wide receivers, Rucker and Logan split to the left on 2nd down 6. Mike Pruitt again, and he pulls down inside the 25. Short of a first down. It'll be 3rd and 1. Jerry Buckenstern upends Mike Pruitt.
Is that goalpost crooked, Don?
I'm glad you said it first because it's awfully early in the evening and it sure looks crooked to me.
It's really intriguing, aren't you?
Yeah.
He's been fascinated by that goalpost all night.
Well, you do think it looks a little bit crooked, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say so. It doesn't help the guy who hooks.
3rd and 1. Cleo Miller, number 30, being adjusted into position by Brian Sight. Mike Pruitt. Oh, and Mike Pruitt is banged, hit hard by Gary Campbell as he tried to go over the top, and it'll be close as to whether or not he was able to pick up the first down.
I was interested to see if the Browns would be able to move the ball into this, just how much the wind is in effect down there tonight. But the Browns have moved fairly well, going in both directions. So, all right, Chet.
Well, it was crooked, all right.
I wonder what the job description for that is.
I'm a goalpost holder. Adjuster.
Well, we don't have many openings, sir.
That's right. But I don't care. I've got experience. I'm a goalpost adjuster.
And a good pop by Gary Campbell, number 59 of the Bears, keeps Mike Pruitt from picking up the first down. And it'll be 4th down. Less than a yard, and Sight comes back into the huddle.
Didn't take him long to make that decision, and I always love to see it.
Well, it's the right decision.
Yeah, that's That's when I like to see it. I like right decisions.
They've got to try to get a TD on the board. Got to keep this drive going because they failed on prior opportunities.
Now, wouldn't you like to see a fake in the line and Ozzie Newsome? Wouldn't that be a fun time to do this? Or maybe even Reggie Rucker or somebody deep. I'd love to see that.
Mike Pruitt, he smacks again. He may have carried enough momentum to get the first down.
Well, Alan Ellis didn't think so, but I believe he did.
Fensick is arguing with the official. Apparently he dislikes the placement of the ball.
Well, tell Fensick they're playing in Cleveland. I think he got it. That's just, you got to get that penetration over the top. They didn't need much. Of course, it would be critical where they mark that ball, but you see him come down a good yard or so out in front what the necessary yardage.
The 23-yard line, as you look at the yardage compiled by these two teams, it's been all Cleveland, but they nevertheless have only been able to put 3 points on the scoreboard. Sight throws it up, and there was a violent collision between Terry Schmidt and Reggie Rucker, but I believe Terry Schmidt had just maintained his position and let Reggie Rucker run into him.
Yeah, well, Sipe also got a pretty good lick just as he got the ball away. I really didn't catch the number, but it's good pressure from the inside. He got it from both sides, man. That's a pretty good lick there. The ball could have been easily intercepted.
Yes, it was an ill-advised throw.
Second down 10. Sipe sends Logan up to the top of your screen. Keith Wright, number 89, is to the right.
No first down for the Bears.
First downs for Cleveland.
For the Bears.
I mean for the Bears.
Greg Pruitt. And Greg Pruitt goes down. He's in the arms of Lee Coons, the second-year man out of Nebraska that's been pressed into service because of an injury to regular middle linebacker Tom Hicks. There he is. Third-round pick last year. Plays all three spots along that line. Former academic All-American from Nebraska. And what were they saying? We saw him as the most valuable player in NCAA college football a couple of years ago. And Nebraska win against Oklahoma.
I found it interesting. He was considering passing up pro ball to train for the decathlon. So he's a good all-around athlete.
Great athlete.
Yeah, do a lot of things.
Could have been in Olympia.
Third down 7. Picked off. Lenny Walterscheid. Walterscheid sprinting down the sidelines, getting all the way back to the 47-yard line. And Brian Sipe again under pressure, dropped it over the middle. And there was no Brownie in sight, and Walterscheid was there.
Sipe just came over and knocked him out of bounds, and you see Sipe sits right down the bench. He's the first one down.
All right.
He knows that was not a good throw.
Well, watch this replay on low angle.
All right.
Moment done.
Well, again, you're going to get some pretty good pressure. We were talking about Lee Coots, who's coming in from the inside. Not that bad. From the outside, that was Gary Campbell that came in there. Tip ball. See a lot of those picked off. You know, we mentioned earlier the Bears is seven interceptions up until this game. They've had 2 tonight, and 3, and 1 was called back.
And they came fast last year in that regard when they had 28.
On first and 10, Walter Payton tries the right side. Finally just bulls inside Cleveland territory for a pickup of 3. It'll be second down and 7.
Now that's Lenny Walterscheid who just made that pickoff. In the meantime, for the first time, the Bears do have field position. They can mount a drive. How many opportunities can Cleveland blow? So far, they've done it again and again and again. That represents the futility of Chicago's offense up to this point in the game. Let's see if that changes.
We talked about the Bears being weak against the pass. They are last in their conference. Well, Cleveland is next to last in their conference against the pass, but Chicago's been unable to do anything about it. They keep going with Payton. Here comes Walter doing his thing down to the 35-yard line. Bear first down.
They got him a first down. That could really be an indication of things to come, because that was also Walter Payton's longest run. He finally broke past the line of scrimmage, made a couple of moves, and got him the first down.
Walter came into tonight's game with 762 yards to 8 game, averaging nearly 4.5 yards per carry. Second to Billy Sims of Detroit in his conference, and third in the NFL.
So a shot of sight, you know he can't really be too happy with his point production tonight. That's not a lot of points for as much offense as they've had.
First and 10, the Bears. They mark blocked it at Cleveland's 36-yard line. And Evans scrambles for it, comes up with it. And Walter Payton took it out of his arms. There's a loss of a couple. It'll be second down and 12.
Roland Harper is the guy that's in the backfield there with Walter, and he's the guy that's primarily known as the big blocker. He's had some injury problems. He's back in there probably as healthy tonight as he's been all year, and yet he hasn't been able to throw that key block, which he's done so many times in the past to get Walter open.
Second and 12, 5:14 remaining in the half. Cleveland on top of the Bears, 3-0. Ricky Watts, wide receiver to the right. Evans throws a bullet over the middle, intended in the general area of Roland Harper.
And he's saying, where did Alzado come from?
Did you see Alzado pop him? Oh.
Vince was set real well to throw to the right side. Lyle made a good move to the outside, came on in, and did give him a pretty good lick.
Third down, 12.
It's a big down for the Bears. They've had their opportunity finally to mount an offense. Even made a first down.
Even made it worse. Goes out to the right. He wears number 80, James Scott. Perhaps the best Bear receiver, split to the left. Comes the blitz. And it's Scott. Scott holds on for the first down at the 22-yard line, and that was a cool pass thrown by Vince Evans. He was under tremendous pressure, and yet he got it in there.
Elvis Franks is a big defensive end. They bring in on those passing situations. You see number 94 do they call him all sorts of trick, but nobody picked him up. And man, you see that big booger coming at you, you want to get rid of the ball. He did read it well and was able to get the ball out to Scott for that second first down of the night for the Chicago Bears.
And they are now clearly in field goal range.
Yeah.
Ricky Watts, split to the right. Out to the left is Scott. The single setback is Walter Payton. Payton, student body right. And Charlie Hall defensively there. There'll be a loss in the play.
Was that Ron Bolton that came up from his cornerback position to kind of turn that thing out?
That's the guy.
Yeah, Ron's had a good year for him. The Browns coaching staff been very pleased with Bolton's performance this year. And that time he made just a good defensive play to come up and force that run. You got a guy like Payton coming out there, man, you want to make him commit as quickly as you can. There he is.
Second down and 11. Neil Armstrong juggling his personnel. Stay in there.
Yeah. They were having some trouble in Chicago. They sent the wrong Neil Armstrong to the moon. They were trying to give him some trouble down there. But anybody from Tishomingo, Oklahoma can't be all bad.
Scott left, number 89, Ricky Watts. Flank to the right. Big Robin Earl there in the wingback spot. Evans goes to Scott, trying to get a screen man in front of it, but hustling up there was Clinton Burrow.
Hey, they're really proud of that young fella,
Yeah,
too.
they really are. He's come on very well, a second-year man. You remember last year Oliver Davis played that position. Oliver was hurt early this year, and then he was passed by Johnson, who had been a top draft choice for the Browns. Johnson's out for the year. In came Burrell, and he has now passed Oliver Davis. So they're happy with that kid. And they've got the veterans, Dawden and Scott, to go with them. They look like a better defensive secondary than their record shows against passing, Frank.
Third down, 11. 3 wide receivers as the tight ends come out. Marshall, Watts, and Scott. Draw play. And Walter Payton gets inside the 20 to about the 24, but that'll tell you something about the confidence the Bears have in their passing game. Third and 11, draw play.
I think that is very critical, too, Frank, because I don't really think in a situation like that, as good as Payton is, and he's terrific, but my gosh, it's awfully hard. That's asking him to do an awful lot.
Bob Thomas, 9 of 13 of the year. His long has been 44 yards, but he has missed 3 times from inside the 40. This will be a 35-yard attempt. Marschnagel places it down. Off wide to the right. So the Browns maintain their 3-0 lead. Don Cockroft with a 23-yard field goal in the first possession of this ball game. 3:22 remaining now in the first half. We'll be back in a moment.
How much can an 81...
Thomas has missed from 35 yards out for the Bears. First down 10, the Cleveland Browns at their own 20-yard line. Sipe, Pruitt, and Pruitt. Greg Pruitt wears 34, Mike Pruitt wears 43, and this would be how the Browns would like to have it all year long. But of course, Greg Pruitt, coming back from knee surgery from a year ago, is just really getting his feet under him. Of course, many years, 1,000-yard rusher for the Browns. Sipe, little draw action, holding the linebackers, and he goes to Ozzie Newsome for a first down out of the 38-yard line.
I think if I was Sipe, I'd throw the ball in Ozzie Newsome's direction at least 10 or 12 times every game, just on general principle. He's the kind of guy that can catch it. That's just all there is to it. He's one of those very unique athletes who's got a lot of the combinations that we talk about, but that size and the speed, but also the ability to read that ball, keep his concentration, and make those catches. He's a terrific tight end. I really do like him.
You couple Ozzie Newsome with Kellen Winslow at San Diego, and you've got a pair of tight ends in this AFC.
Julia Miller is coming on.
Oh, they're inside handoff. This is Greg Pruitt. Greg Pruitt finds an opening and keeps his feet out close to midfield, and they'll mark it now back at the 48. But I know this is welcome news for Sam Rutigliano, because Greg Pruitt has not been running like he has just run on this play.
I think Greg would probably be a little disappointed that he didn't maintain his balance. You're going to see a pretty good block coming in here, I think, by Reggie Rucker. Well, actually, a little bit late. I'm sorry, Reggie. I gave you too much credit. But right there, he just really lost his balance. But a good run.
You saw Ozzie blocking that, too.
On first and 10, Sipe fires through the hands of Greg Pruitt, incomplete. Second down 10, 2 minutes and 5 seconds remaining in the first half. Cleveland on top 3-0. Now, we did not expect this from the high-scoring Cleveland Browns. But again, the Bears, well, historically, they can make you look awfully bad. They're a rough, tough, kind of a rough and tumble sort of a football team, and that has been their history over the years. Second down and 10. Charles White, 25, now the tailback for the Cleveland Browns. Mike Pruitt gets to the line of scrimmage. That's all. He's buried there by Jim Osborne. And there is the 2-minute warning. Both benches, of course, will be notified. And with 2 minutes remaining in this game, Cleveland leads Chicago 3-0. Back at Cleveland Stadium, standing room only crowd, 80,000 plus. Cleveland Browns with their 5-3 record. The Houston Oilers obviously looking on, because Houston has a 6-3 mark with their win over Denver yesterday. The Chicago Bears 3-5, trailing Detroit in their Central Division of the NFC. Detroit 6-3, and of course the Bears, notoriously a second-half team. They won 7 of 8 last year to go 10-6 and make the playoffs, and of course there they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles. Third down 10 for the Cleveland Browns. The ball at their own 48-yard line. Calvin Hill, number 35 in the Cleveland backfield, and he, of course, the designated receiver. He has not had one attempt from scrimmage thus far this season, but he has been a principal performer in the passing attack of the Browns. Sipe.
Oh, what a catch.
It up, and it was taken there by Greg Pruitt at the 35-yard line, and it was a catch, a difficult catch for a receiver to do a full 360.
See, so many times this ball was underthrown a little bit to the outside. Just great ability by Pruitt to make that adjustment, to turn his body completely around and go the other way and catch the ball.
That's why he's so valuable, as we mentioned earlier, because he is an all-purpose football player. I tell you, Tony Hill made a catch yesterday to win the game for Dallas. He screened his body from Roger Whaley. The folks will see it at halftime as the most dramatic play of a brilliant afternoon of football yesterday.
They had some good ones yesterday. Johnny Jefferson made a heck of a catch, too.
1:54 remaining in the half. First down and 10. 35. Sipe in trouble, and this will be picked off. Mike Hartenstein. The ball was deflected. Sipe tried to get rid of it. Hartenstein took it. The Bears will have the ball at the 40-yard line, and now they're saying no, that he trapped it. And the Bears are really exercised over this one.
I think maybe they should be.
They should be, too.
Dipped by Jim Osborne, number 68. Was not a good throw. He got good pressure. Who was coming up the middle? I didn't see that.
It was Lee Coons, who's filling in for Tom Hicks.
I tell you, the Bears are plaguing Sipe. Let's look at it again.
All right.
What's the blitz and then watch closely what happens.
All right, there's Coons up the middle. He's trying just to get rid of the ball. Here's Osborne who tips it up. Now then, let's see. Did he trap it or not? Well, I couldn't see. Maybe he did.
They're saying he did not have control of it before he went down.
Well, all right, let's see if we can see it better on another angle. You certainly got to give him E for effort. Yep, I think I saw the ball drop. There you go. There you go. Good call.
And give them credit. They were right on top of it. And a good call. Second down and 10. Ozzie Newsome. Newsome stays on his feet. Gets down to the 18-yard line. And the Browns try to hustle the line of scrimmage. They only have 2 timeouts. Seconds are ticking off.
I agree with Meredith. I'd throw to Newsome all night.
You got to get it, get the ball in his area. Even if he doesn't catch it, you're going to open up other areas because potentially he's there.
The Bears slow getting back, so the officials stop the clock. Now they start it again. It's 1:15 and moving. Sight had not called 2 plays in the huddle. Now he audibilizes right at the line of scrimmage. Firing in the corner is Logan, and a beautiful pass and a great move by Logan out in the corner. Stepping out of bounds, killing the clock inside the 5-yard line. Working out there against Allen Ellis.
Just such a beautifully thrown ball. Ellis is giving him some room. Logan down in this area oftentimes runs that post route. So Ellis was playing to the inside. Sight very calmly takes a step back. They again had pressure coming at him with some linebackers coming in there. So he had man-to-man coverage in the secondary. Threw it to the outside. Logan made a good cut. They're right down there knocking on the door.
Browns have 2 timeouts. They have the ball at the 4-yard line. First down and goal. Bears have been tough down here as they were in the first quarter. Inside will go up on top immediately. Rucker. Yes, touchdown.
All right.
Oh, boy.
All right.
3 consecutive receptions. Newsome, Logan, Rucker.
That's the point, Frank. How he diversified them in the clutch. And Reggie Rucker, who started with Dallas, who went to the Giants, who went to the Pats, and who's been with the Browns with a fine shoestring catch.
It was a shoestring catch. Logan was also open to the inside there for a moment. They crisscrossed their 2 slot men. Reggie to the outside, just made a good catch. Touchdown, Browns.
With 57 seconds remaining in the half. Don Cockroft for the conversion. Rookie quarterback Paul McDonald is the holder. And a flag is down as I believe that one of the Chicago Bears piled into the holder, Paul McDonald. Jonathan Hope was ripping in there in an attempt to block, and that penalty will be assessed.
Coming into the kicker, number 47, defense. The point is good. 5 yards on the kickoff.
And the penalty, of course, will be assessed on the kickoff. So the Browns with 57 seconds have moved on top 10-0. We're going to pause right now for this word from the National Football League.
A little rash there.
That announcement brought to you as a public service by the National Football League and, of course, the center for the Cleveland Browns, Tom DeLeon. Reggie Rucker hangs one up. He is not only much traveled, he calls himself a bionic man. He's had a broken shoulder, his wrist, surgery on both knees and 1 foot. And he's still a fine receiver.
That was a marvelous banner, Frank. There's only one Reggie, and that's Rucker.
Now, don't try to get that word out now, because I think there'll be some folks that disagree in New York.
Penalty was assessed on the kickoff, and that means the Cockroft will be kicking from midfield.
Yeah, close. Ron Bolton is playing to that 50-yard line. He's right up there a yard or so away.
A discussion now by referee Dick Jorgensen and his officials. I think what they did, they marked it off 15.
Running into the kicker was a 5-yard penalty. We'll kick off from the 40-yard line.
All right, we'll go along with that. Not a deliberate effort on the part of the Chicago Bear. Deep is Dave Williams, former option quarterback from Played up in Canada a couple of years with the 49ers. Played out at Colorado and was also a member of their track team where he ran a 9.700.
I tell you, Sipe was having a shaky night. Suddenly put it all together so beautifully in that touchdown drive.
He was so cool. He had to audibilize to get to Logan inside the 5-yard line. Set to go. 57 seconds remaining in the half. Cockroft hangs it high. Taken by Williams. And Williams gets out of the 15 to the 17 with 53 seconds remaining, and there is a flag down back where it might indicate the Cleveland Browns were offside on the kickoff. Yes, they were. So now they will kick from their 35.
Yeah, Cockcroft didn't like that 5-yard advantage he had. He said, look, I've worked out all year kicking off from the 35. You're trying to throw off my time. I'm sure he said something like that. You know what I mean, Steve? There's you an interesting statistic. Hard to get those points on the board if you don't do what.
I was wondering what going through the mind of Neil Armstrong. Obviously, Vince Evans has not been able to generate any offense. Would he consider going back to Mike Phipps, the starter in the early part of the year and the starter of record and the Bears stretch drive of a year ago?
I don't think he has much choice. I think he must return to Phipps next half. This game is just too important. The Bears will be out of it. There'll be no late second half surge if they lose second half of the season surge if they lose this game tonight.
They would fall 3 games behind the Detroit Lions.
The only problem
to lose tonight.
Problem you have with that, if you start switching those quarterbacks, then that's really a show of indecision. It is a hard. I think that what Evans has got to do to hold that position, he's got to get a little bit more of the old forward pass instilled in that offensive formation. Otherwise, too much pressure on Peyton.
Don Cockcroft from his 35-yard line. Spirals one downfield. It's pursued by Willie McClendon. And McClendon hammered at the 15, moves forward too close to the 18-yard line. Willis Adams was down there first for the Browns. 48 seconds remaining in the half. The ball on the 17-yard line. 2 timeouts now for the Bears. And another flag is down.
A little altercation between Bob Fisher for the Bears and a couple of the Browns, and the yellow flag goes up.
Again, the Bears last year coming from a 3-5 record. That's the record they have now in the first half of their season.
Personal foul, face mask, number 85, kicking team. Personal foul, face mask, number 25, receiving team. After the ball was dead, penalties offset.
We got all that?
Yeah.
Logan for the Browns.
Yeah, I think he got them. He got the numbers mixed up. I think it was Charlie White for the Browns and Bob Fisher for the Bears.
Well, in any event, he got the rest of it straight because the Bears will have the ball at their own 18-yard line. I started to say, of course, the Bears went on after a 3-5 start of a year ago and finished with a 10-6 record. They did that also back in '77. Discussion on the field, and well, Vince Evans wanted timeout, and he will move over now to chat with Neil Armstrong, and that means the Bears have 1 timeout.
You know, you were talking about the possible use of Mike Phipps in the second half. It seems to me Phipps has been a maligned quarterback throughout most of his career. You'll remember when he was here at Cleveland, he didn't have the Ruckers, Logans, and Newsoms to throw to. He had Gloucester Richardson, he had Fair Hooker, there's Mike Phipps, and he had our old friend Jubilar.
Dunbar, Jubilee Dunbar.
Jubilee Dunbar,
I remember it. What a pair, Jubilee Dunbar and Fair Hooker. Well, no wonder, Mike, those things happen.
It is Mike Phipps, 11th year man out of Purdue, and of course he was the starter right here for the Cleveland Browns when a youngster, 13th round draft pick, arrived on the scene. That, of course, Brian Sipe. And a couple of years later, Phipps hurt his shoulder. Sipe came on, it was brilliant, and the following year, Phipps was traded to the Chicago Bears. First and 10 Chicago. They've got it pulled together now with 48 seconds remaining in the first half, and Roland Harper has the right side, and we have another another flag down as Harper is out over the 20 to the 21. Gain of 3.
Having a hard time getting into the locker rooms. It's got to be a holding, I would assume. There you go. You know, Bob Avellini is another quarterback the Bears have that they had high hopes for one time, about a 5th or 6th year guy out of Maryland. And they just haven't been able to find that right combination there yet, whatever it is.
Penalty being discussed there. Number 52 of the Chicago Bears.
And, of course, they only have one speed receiver. That would be James Scott. They have had problems at tight end. Moving Robin Earl from fullback to the tight end position.
Holding, number 69, offense, half the distance to the goal, still first down.
Reevy Sorey, the right guard of the Bears. Penalty assessed half the distance to the goal, marked at the 9-yard line. It'll be first down and 20. 44 seconds remaining in the half. The Bears with one timeout. We would suspect they will put it on the ground. Run off those final few seconds.
Well, you might look for the Bears to use some of their timeouts to try to hold them in here.
I mean, Cleveland, of course, they could do that. The flag goes down again as Ambrose takes Walter Payton at the line of scrimmage.
Appeared to be an offside on the Browns that time from this angle.
Cleveland, offside.
That's right, Sam.
Yeah, whatever it was.
Slide, defense, still first down.
Yes, sir. And it's also first down 15. Ticked away a lot of seconds and had little or no action. 40 seconds now remaining in the half. Roland Harper is a single setback now for the Bears. That indicate that the Bears are going to put the ball in play in the middle of the line of scrimmage to get rid of these final seconds. Alzado is there swarming over Roland Harper. Gain of about a yard.
Ambrose wants his timeout. He says, let's make them work for it.
And Ambrose calls timeout. They would like to see the Bears have to punt this football. And now the Browns have one timeout.
The Bears still just have 2 first downs. Is that, or they get another one, 2 or 3 first downs? You've got to
2 first downs.
You've got to look at right now. He's going over here to try to get some help from the sideline. But man, they've had a tough one. This game next week, guys, is really going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that.
It should be, because you're going to see 2 great offensive units tonight. The Browns have shown in the final minutes of the first half their offensive unit, which is one of the best. But the Bears are strictly defense. These 2 teams, boy, they can pour it on.
First downs, the Browns have 18, the Bears have 2. And young Vince Evans has not been able to generate the offense. Cleveland, of course, would like to win tonight, as I said, to pull into a tie with Houston in the AFC Central Division, but there's a long road ahead for these Browns. Next week they'll be at Baltimore. Baltimore, of course, hot right now. They also must play Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh the following week at Pittsburgh. They play Houston once again and Cincinnati twice, closing their season December 21st against their arch rival Cincinnati. Second down 13. Harper surging out around the 19-yard line. So the Browns could stop it one more time if they so decided. And apparently they will not. And the Bears will run the clock out here in the first half. So Cleveland staggered a bit in the first quarter, and they bounced right back on the arm of Brian Sipe with 3 consecutive completions. Newsom, Logan. As it took place, Brian Sipe, who had just completed a pass to Logan, out of bounds at the 4-yard line, drops back very coolly and finds Reggie Rucker, corner of the end zone. Reggie Rucker making the Houston catch in the corner of the end zone, and the Cleveland Browns extended their lead over the Chicago Bears 10-0. And both teams are moving back out onto the field. Let's take a look at the statistics, and they are overwhelmingly in favor of the Cleveland Browns. The Chicago Bears thus far unable to generate any offense to speak of. And I'd like to take this moment, if I could, to express all of our sympathies to the family, and particularly the wife, Agnes, of Harold McClinton. Of course, we mentioned several weeks ago that he was critically injured in an accident. He had stopped on a highway to help somebody in trouble. He was hit by another car, suffered severe injuries. Well, he died on Friday. And his players, former players of the Washington Redskins, his former teammates, the Players Association have all gathered around that family, and they've set up a family trust fund at the National Savings and Trust Company in Washington, D.C. to aid the family and the children of this truly fine man, Harold McClinton, whom we were so fond of. Harold McClinton, dead at the age of 33.
Hard to figure life.
Sam Retigliano, man we spoke of, has coached pretty much all of his life after being a great offensive end for Oklahoma A&M and played several years with the Philadelphia Eagles before going up to Canada. Traveled around the National Football League and back to his alma mater and coached, and of course made a tremendous mark in the high school areas around the New York area.
Yes, you mentioned at the beginning of the telecast that he went to Erasmus Hall High School, which is a very famous Brooklyn high school in sports. It was, of course, the school of Sid Luckman, the great quarterback of the Bears, an all-time great, back when they were the monsters of the Midway. And Erasmus Hall had 3 men simultaneously in head coaching positions in major sports, Frank. Billy Cunningham still coaches the 76ers in the NBA, and Doug Moe used to be the coach of the San Antonio Spurs, till Don went down to see the Spurs play and decided Mr. Moe should depart.
Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, no, I didn't.
Chicago will kick off to the Cleveland Browns. Bob Thomas will begin the second half for the Bears. Dropping is Keith Wright along with Dino Hall. Dino Hall, 5'7", 165-pounder, was cut by the Browns a year ago, but then when Keith Wright was hurt, they brought him back, and he's an exciting little ball player. However, this will be Keith Wright, and he misses at the 5, and the ball moves out of the end zone, touchback, and Cleveland will begin at their 20-yard line, where we anticipate, of course, the return of quarterback Brian Sipe. Setbacks, Greg Pruitt and Mike Pruitt alternating with Charles White, and of course on the passing downs we'll see Calvin Hill come in. The wide receivers, of course, Dave Logan, the gifted one. Reggie Rucker has scored the only touchdown of this ball game. Touchback, and Cleveland will begin at their 20-yard line, where we anticipate, of course, the return of quarterback Brian Sipe. Setbacks, Greg Pruitt and Mike Pruitt alternating with Charles White, and of course on the passing downs we'll see Calvin Hill come in. The wide receivers, of course, Dave Logan, the gifted one. Reggie Rucker has scored the only touchdown of this ball game, and awesome Ozzie Newsome at tight end.
Awesome Ozzie. Very good. Meantime, I'll say this much for the Bears, offenseless as they've been, even with Walter Payton, they have given the Cleveland offensive line more trouble than any team Cleveland has faced thus far this year. Gift.
Sight, a victim of 2 sacks. The 7th and 8th of this season. Right there in the first half, and here comes Mike Pruitt. Mike Pruitt swarmed under a pair of linebackers. Gary Muckenstern was there, and Gary Campbell.
Let's see right off, Don, if Sipe goes conservative.
I would say this, they're going to have the wind, what we've been talking about off and on for the 4th quarter. You might see him start this second half a little bit more conservative than he'll ease on into as the game goes along. But it's awfully hard to be conservative when they really base their offense on the pass.
Pruitt loses a yard. It'll be second down at 11. Osborne pressuring Sipe, but he gets the ball off to Mike Pruitt, and Mike Pruitt holds on and battles up close to a first down. And I'll tell you, Osborne really laid one on Brian Sipe.
And Brian Sipe is not going to be conservative.
Well, no, he's not. But also, Brian, what he did, this is the kind of thing they say, you got to learn how to fall. And see how Sipe can sense somebody's coming. He throws the ball nice, says, I'm going to go ahead and go that lick. It's a good lick, but again, he didn't fight the pressure of Osborne coming in, so probably was not hurt very bad.
The first down out over the 30-yard line. Reggie Rucker split wide to the right. Top of your screen is Dave Logan. And this is Greg Pruitt. Pruitt loses the football, and there's a a scramble for it, and Mike Pruitt comes up with it.
He said, what are pals for? Sounds like a law firm. Sight, Pruitt, and Pruitt.
Again, you saw the tentative steps of Greg Pruitt. He still is battling back from that knee injury that required surgery a year ago. And now Pruitt comes out, and Charles White goes in.
Blocking White.
Well, they know you're here, Coach.
Tell it like it is.
That's not proper grammar now, is it?
Either that or tell it the way you want it to be. Either one.
Might get 100 columns.
Charles White, number 25, in the lineup. And Pruitt will go to the air on 2nd and 10. Ozzie Newsome, and he just hung it high, and there's a flag down, and there could be a late hit on Sight.
think
Lee Coons was in there for the Bears, number 57 on the blitz, but Sipe again. It is roughing the passer, and it was Coons, but Sipe, what a beautiful pass. He hung it up high, and up went Ozzie Newsome.
What a beautiful catch. What a perfectly timed leap.
I think one of the things that helps the quarterback to throw down the middle, when you see a guy throw right down the middle, you know you'll have a lot of defenders there. But to know you got a guy like Newsome who can go up and catch the ball, man, it certainly does increase your confidence when you throw down the middle.
I don't believe the tight ends in this league. Maybe it's become the most proficient position in the league. Let's see if we can see the late hit.
Well, you see Coons, number 57, trying to make his way in there. The ball was thrown. He's up in the air.
Sipe just went from 6'1" to 5'8". The first down, 40-yard line of the Bears. Sipe reads the defense, finds no receivers open, steps out, and then looks out and tries to go to Mike Pruitt, incomplete.
Let me make this point, if I may, Frank. We're seeing the increasing use of the two tight end offense, Dandy, as exemplified particularly by Houston with Casper and Barber, two great tight ends. We've talked about young ones like Kellen Winslow and Junior Miller. Then, of course, there are the great veterans, Dave Casper, whom we've already mentioned, and on top of that, Russ Francis. Now you look at a player like Ozzie Newsome. Riley Odoms is well recognized as a great, what a position in that league.
Yeah, well, you got Billy Joe Dupree, of course, with Dallas.
That's right.
Is in there, and Saldi.
Second down, 10, Cleveland. Inside handoff, and it's Charles White. Last year's Heisman Award winner, spinning and twisting for a gain of 4. After the 35, it'll be third down and 6.
Saldi, you mentioned, has a unique newfound skill that we watched. He knows which way the ball is going to bounce.
It's called the Saldi bounce, is what it's called. You only run that close to the goal line.
Charles White, over 6,200 yards as a collegiate. His last collegiate ball game before coming to the Browns, a 247-yard effort in the Rose Bowl against Ohio State.
Not too shabby.
Strong, not all that big, but he is a powerful little man. On third and 6. Sight, Calvin Hill, and he has a first down. Oh, another flag is down, and Calvin Hill goes down. Terry Schmidt was there, number 44, as was Jerry Muckenstern in on the stop. Face mask. And the Bears are making mistake after mistake here in the early going of the second half.
That's Muckenstern. You can see he's got that left hand wrapped around that face mask. The reason that penalty really should be called every chance that, or every time you see it, is because you're dealing with an area of the body that can really cause some severe damage, and that's the neck. And when you got that handle of the face mask, very easy to do that. He ain't over the hill, I guess you're right.
He sure isn't.
Logan split to the left on first and 10. The ball at the 22-yard line. Browns open the game in the same manner. This is Mike Pruitt, and Mike Pruitt barrels inside the 20, down close to the 17-yard line for a gain of 4. It'll be second and 6. Gary Fensig defensively on a stop for Chicago.
Sounds like the Ozzie Newsome show, but I was watching him in there again, and he was blocking on Hampton. And not a big gainer, but a very good block by that tight end on a very big and strong defensive end.
Now they marked it at the 18-yard line. Second down, 6. We're in the third quarter, and Cleveland is on top of Chicago 10-0. That's Logan. Top of your screen. Up there right on top of him is Alan Ellis. Now he steps away. And Mike Pruitt gets the call inside. And inside the 15 to the 14, where it'll be 3rd down and 2. We're going to pause 5 seconds and allow our stations along the line to identify themselves.
WLS-TV Chicago.
Back in Cleveland Stadium, and that's been the story. If you have just joined us, Cleveland dominating on the ground. However, they only lead 10-0. Now they have the football on the 14-yard line. 3rd down and 2. One touchdown we've had. Brian Sight, 4-yard touchdown pass to Reggie Rucker. Miller is in motion for Cleveland. Sight hides the ball. Goes out to McDonald Oden, the rookie tight end from Tennessee State. And it'll be a 1st down inside the 10-yard line.
Boy, he is really mixing them up beautifully. Throwing here, throwing there. Different receivers everywhere.
This is Oden's 3rd reception of the year, and he gets a very important 1st down inside at the 9-yard line.
Change of offensive philosophy that time. He kept the backs in. We've seen him flood everybody out. 5 receivers. That time kept the backs in. Flooded one zone with his the 3 receivers. Odom was a guy that came out late, kind of a late pattern. Picked up the yardage for the 1st down.
1st and goal, Cleveland. They've used up nearly 5 minutes of this 3rd quarter. Another one for Logan, and Logan does not come down with it. Dave Logan back there with Alan Ellis. Alan Ellis is 5'10", by the way, and Dave Logan is 6'4", and we've talked about Logan all night long about what a great athlete he is. He was actually drafted by 3 different professional sports. The Kansas City Kings wanted him for basketball, and when he was a high school baseball player, the Cincinnati Reds wanted him.
Was he a pitcher?
I don't know.
Looks like one of those big old long tall pitchers has probably got.
I don't know, but I know he was a great rebounder. You left out Keith Prepler.
Yeah, that's who it was. I forgot Keith.
I bet we'll find out. We left out a lot more. 2nd and goal. Mike Pruitt. Corralled there by Alan Page. Nevertheless, he surges forward down to about the 7-yard line for a gain of a couple. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Not that Allen is incapable. What we saw right there, well, again, we mentioned his size. He is not playing as heavy as he has in the past. So a guy like Pruitt, who's
they're about the same size.
They really are not too far off, and Pruitt's a little bit shorter, so he got under Page and carried him for a few yards that time, or a yard or 2.
3rd down and goal to go. The ball close to the 7-yard line of the Bears. Intended for Logan, incomplete, and back there defensively to Schmidt, and a flag goes down.
Happens so often. They get a little nervous down here around the end zone. Those defensive backs have got to play them tough. Would have been.
I tell you, it is very difficult to be a defensive back in pro football today.
Wait a minute.
An illegal procedure, illegal motion against the Cleveland Browns, so it was not an interference call.
I believe maybe it was an interference call. And
illegal motion, number 82, offense, interference, defense, penalties offset, still 3rd down.
So we had both calls. Offsetting penalties. 3rd down, goal to go, the ball at the 7. Ozzie Newsome illegally in motion, and a defensive foul against the Bears.
He scored on the crossing pattern in this, or close to this situation earlier, with Logan going to the inside and Rucker going to the outside. However, they're not in that formation right now.
Willis Adams is in. Number 80, a 2nd-year man out of Houston, top of your screen. Sight, and a peck of trouble. And down he goes, and it was Mike Hartenstein, but it was the entire rush of the Bears' front defensive line. And Sight now has dropped all the way back to the 24-yard line. It'll be 4th down, and we'll see Don Cockcroft, and he will not have a chip shot, as he would have been.
Not anymore.
The ball was up at the 7-yard line.
That's the 3rd sack, right, Giff?
3rd sack. But also, they had only given up 6 in the previous 8 games.
They are really doing a better job, as I noted, against the Cleveland offensive line than any team has.
The critical mistakes for Cleveland have occurred in that scoring area. The 2 touchdowns we called back, they've made a penalty, and now this long sack.
The attempt at 42 yards. Paul McDonald puts it down. You can tell by the roar of the end zone fans that have packed this stadium that Don Cockcroft's boot is good. And Cleveland moves out to a 13-0 lead. 8:48 remaining in the third. Well, Mom, I guess you do.
We are back live at Cleveland Stadium, where 83,224 people have congregated to see their Browns, who are beating the Bears 13-0 with 8:48 left in the third quarter. That's a record NFL crowd for this year, and look at them.
Pom-poms waving, and the Browns are not letting them down. They're struggling against the Bears. A tenacious defense and a team totally lacking offense tonight, the Chicago Bears. Don Cockcroft bangs it. It'll go in and out of the end zone. And it'll be a touchback. And Chicago will start again from their 20-yard line. And totally ineffectual tonight offensively.
Incredible when you consider that they've got Walter Payton.
And the Bears have tried to use Walter Payton. They've tried to send him outside, and Cleveland has contained him with the exception of one 16-yard burst, and Vince Evans remains the quarterback. 8:42 remaining in the third quarter as the Browns used over 6 minutes.
The word drives is used measuredly on that graphic.
Evans on first down will go to the air. Robin Earl, the tight end, and big Robin Earl booms up close to the 39-yard line. That's a Chicago Bear first down. Robin Earl, who was moved to tight end from an offensive running back position of a year ago.
As much as Cleveland has dominated the statistics, we point out it is 13-0, and their third first down. You kind of get a feeling that these Bears got to get something rolling before long. Robin Earl.
The ball is marked at the 38-yard line. First and 10. Chris Haynes, number 83, one wide receiver now. And Roland Harper tries the left side, gets to the 40-yard line. A gain of a couple. It'll be second down and 8. Roland Harper, who came back this season after missing over a year with knee problems. We saw him come back, Howard, in the Tampa game, in which the Bears won 23-0.
And he was a key figure in that game, which might have been the Bears' best game of the season thus far. Best effort, apart from their losing effort against Philadelphia, where they made it so close.
A couple of years ago, Roland Harper was a 900-yard rusher for the Bears along with Payton. They really had a tremendous running game. 1 second and 8.
Well, he's got some time to throw, and he did it.
He completes it out to Boschnagel for a first down near the 45-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. They'll mark it at the 46.
You can see that here he's really got some good protection. He's kind of turned around a bit, a lot of time. He's zeroing in on Boschnagel. Boschnagel finally makes his move back to the outside. Tried to close it up, couldn't quite get there in time.
Ryan Boschnagel.
Ron Bolton that was defending.
Walter Payton, and they blow the whistles as Payton tries to turn inside, stopping the action. The flag had been thrown before the ball was snapped.
Could have been a delay of the game. Motion.
A lot of flags tonight. Marked off against the Bears, 5 yards. That will put them back to the 49.
Start number 65. Offense, still first down.
Noah Jackson over the left side, a little eager. So it's first down at 15. Well, again, the Bears coming into the night with a 3-5 record, trying to stay close to Detroit in their division. Cleveland trying to move into a tie with Houston in their division. Evans.
Now then.
And Vince Evans doing what he can do as well as any quarterback in this game today.
That was a good
First
glimpse
down
of
inside
him.
the 35.
That is what he can do. He's a super athlete.
Now, wouldn't you be tempted to kind of put the old quarterback rollout into your offense with a guy? Now, this was certainly not a design play, just good reaction. He was getting some pressure On the inside, that was Henry Bradley, number 91, that you see coming in there. Good block throw. But again, he does have that mobility that we've talked about. I would be tempted to put in an old rollout pass, the option runner throw. Let him throw out to the outside, quick short passes, or run with the ball.
Ricky Watts, the speedster, out to the right, top of your screen. James Scott back in the lineup, split to the left. Evans, intercept Payton, and almost picked off by Clarence Scott, deflected, and then almost caught by Walter Payton. A pair of Brownie defenders were back there, Tom Darden and Clarence Scott.
Well, he had Payton coming out of the backfield, a little fake run up to Roland Harper. Again, fairly good protection. Throws it deep, not quite long enough. You see, Walter had to stop there a little bit. Here the defenders come across. They're going at it. Sweetness couldn't quite hold on.
Walter Payton, again, of all of his statistics, the most impressive one to me is tonight was his 72nd consecutive start.
He shows up for game time. That's what you say.
Second down and 10. Durable, strong. Evans.
That was a nifty pickup.
Dave Williams, incomplete.
Gabe Paul, the president of the Indians, is here. He may have noted that pickup. He's looking for a defensive second baseman.
Nobody was covering, though. Where was the shortstop?
By the way, the potential new owners of the Indians are here, Neil Papiano and Jimmy Niederlander.
Third down, 10.
Got to be impressed by this crowd. They've got to figure some of them are baseball fans.
Well, they did get 73,000 here for a Yankee-Indian game this past season.
Big play for the Bears. Down 13-0. Baschnagel goes out to the right. Scott's out to the left.
There's your rollout. It didn't work.
And Evans somehow able to throw the ball away. And I think they're going to say he was in the arms of defender Charlie Hall. And the whistle had been blown.
I think you're right. Charlie Hall. Well, this was a little rollout pass I was calling for. You see why that one didn't work. But Charlie Hall did make a good move around the the offensive line. They call it a trap. That's another one of the relatively new rules. When he's in the arms of the defensive player, quarterback I'm speaking of, they blow the whistle.
Fourth down, and out comes Bob Parsons. Keith Wright
Got to be
settles in for Cleveland, back around his 10-yard line. 5:23, and the clock is moving, remaining in the third quarter.
Got to be disappointed with that last drive.
Parsons hits it high, and it takes a bare bounce, and they take the ball down at the 4-yard line, hustling down there. Jerry Muckenstern. So Cleveland will have the football. They'll be 95 yards away from the goal line. We'll be back in a moment.
That man's a fighter. Name's Alzado.
Of course, he came from Denver a year ago, and he put some spunk into the defensive unit. He came, of course, right when the Cleveland Browns had lost Jerry Shirk, an All-Pro for many times. First and 10, Cleveland, their own 5-yard line. And Mike Pruitt out to the 7-yard line. A gain of a couple of his 2nd and 8. Again, a reminder about college football Saturday. We'll begin live at Eastern time. The first game featuring Georgia against Florida, and watch Georgia's sensational freshman running back. That, of course, Herschel Walker. 225 yards he had this last weekend, plus other regional games, including Arkansas against Baylor. And remember, Baylor undefeated, of course, in Southwest Conference play. Then stay tuned for the second half of our doubleheader featuring USC at Stanford. Check your listings for the game and time in your area. And again, 12 o'clock Eastern time, college football here on ABC. Second down and 8. Mike Pruitt on the draw play. It's out over the 10 to the 11-yard line.
Florida is a remarkable turnabout story this year, Frank. They were 10-1 last year. They're 6-1 this year. And Georgia, unbeaten, is driving for a major bowl bid, of course, and for the Southeastern Conference title. Meantime, watch number 34 of Georgia, kid named Herschel Walker.
And for the Browns, third down and 4. The ball at their 11-yard line. Motion man is Rucker. Sight has the time, and incomplete. It'll be 4th down, and the Bears should get the ball back in fairly good field position. As out comes Johnny Evans, I believe his 2nd punt of the night.
Ball was either poorly thrown or was slightly deflected. Could have been deflected by Hartenstein.
Looked like it might have been tipped.
It sure fluttered out there, didn't it?
That statistic showed you what I meant about the Bears being the best against the Browns' offensive line this season.
Matt Suey is deep for the Bears. He's a rookie from Penn State. Evans pounds it, and it'll be Suey at midfield. He bobbles the ball. The flags are down. As Suey gets the ball back to the 38, but this call is going to go against the Bears. It looked like Jonathan Hope will be picked up for clipping.
I don't think there's any question about that. Number 47, and he knew it immediately.
Well, we're going to have another double foul.
Going to bring it back and kick it again.
The legal man downfield for the Browns, and the clipping call.
I think this team of officials has majored in double fouls.
Ineligible downfield. Number 55, offense, personal foul, clipping. Number 47 on a return. Penalties offset. 4th down.
I would say that exchange, and the Bears probably got the better end of that deal because they were going to get another penalty. Throwing back in around the 30. We'll wait and see them.
You saw the crowd. We've had showers throughout the evening. It's not cold here, however. The temperature at kickoff was 63 degrees. Again, as we look at the rookie Matt Suey from Penn State. And Johnny Evans will pump one out of the end zone again. Evans, a big foot this time, and Suey will take it at his 45. Swarmed under, hustling down there, Willis Adams, the 2nd-year man from Houston, but the Bears, again, in a good field position, and another flag is down. Post flag back at the line of scrimmage. And Johnny Evans said, let's do it again. Evans will be exhausted.
Evans wonders what's going on the field, off the field. Suddenly the leg is tired, overexertion.
We saw the preliminary indication, holding against Cleveland.
Well, they'll get the Bears in really good field position.
Holding. Number 26, offense, half the distance, still 4th down.
Little Dino Hall was holding.
Now, is it about time to change that defensive charge and try to block this one? Then maybe a roughing the kicking penalty, and Cleveland will wind up with the ball on about the 15.
Oh, it'll be a double foul.
Yes.
Walgenscheid has replaced Suey. Suey was also a little exhausted from his 2 previous efforts. Evans again pounds one. Walgenscheid at his own 43-yard line. And back out over the 45 to the 46. Keith Wright was down there defensively for the Cleveland Browns. But the Bears, again, will have good field position when we return. The ball at their own 46-yard line. They're down by 13. Vince Evans steps into the Bears huddle. Interesting statistic.
That's a great trivia buff question.
He does have the strong arm. Bears at their 46-yard line. 3:11 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Bears down 13-0. Evans fires complete to Robin Earl. And Robin Earl down to the 30-yard line for a Bear 1st down.
He's beginning to use his tight end effectively.
Well, he's looking for anybody he can use effectively right now. That was a good move by Robin Earl to kind of pull up in the middle, got in between the linebackers. I think the little fake to Peyton going across the backfield. See a little move to Harper right there. Peyton go to the inside, throws the linebackers just long enough. Robin Earl pulls up in the middle, nobody there.
About Fisher, the rookie tight end from SMU, number 85, comes in for Robin Earl. Walter Payton. And Payton gets down to the 27-yard line, a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Clay Matthews on that stop defensively for the Browns, number 57.
What's interesting is, as bad as the Bears have looked, they're still in this game. Although I can't remember ever seeing Walter Payton so frustrated.
Robin Earl comes back in. Of course, the Bears have had problems with their tight ends. Mike Cobb is on the injured reserve list, as is Greg Latta. 2nd down, 7. Evans again with the time, and he finds Robin Earl.
Now that was a well-thrown ball, right on the numbers.
Short of the 1st down, but Evans very coolly fires it in there.
That's Charlie Hall out there covering, but this ball really is thrown well. Right at the numbers, strong. An example of the strong arm you've been talking about, but Charlie Hall's not that far off. Robin Earl's out to the outside. Did they make the first? No, a little short.
3rd down, less than a yard. Here's Robin Earl. Interesting stat will tell you something about Hugh McElhaney. Robin Earl, who has only been in the Pro Leagues 4 years, was the 2nd leading rusher at the University of Washington to Hugh McElhaney, and that was a long time ago. Long count, and it could have pulled the Brownies off. Vince Evans was going with the quarterback sneak.
Got a minute 43 left in the 3rd quarter. Should the Bears put one on the board, you got yourself a ball game.
Particularly if it's a touchdown. I mean, a field goal certainly would help, but if they put a touchdown here, you're absolutely right.
That's what I meant.
A lot of strange things could happen.
Offside, Cleveland.
Encroachment, number 77, defense, first stop.
Wow, Alzado was the Cleveland Brown they named. There were a couple of them, however, that moved across that neutral zone. The ball now at the 16-yard line. Ricky Watts split out to the right. James Scott split out to the left. Evans going for Scott. Scott blanketed there in the end zone. Tom Darden and Clinton Burrell they both had Scott in hand.
Situation of double coverage. You see that the first man to pick him up is Burrell, then releases him back deep to Tom Darden. To complete that ball, that'd be perfectly thrown right in that slot.
Well, this is the point. He could have made a big mistake there and had an intercept, and this is the one time they can't afford another mistake.
You got the double coverage on the outside. Even if you have double coverage in the middle on the tight end, it's with a linebacker and not with the 2 defensive backs.
Bears' deepest penetration of the ball game at the Browns 16-yard line. 2nd down, 10. Evans drills one into Ricky Watts, and it's deflected and knocked away.
It's been a good opportunity for Evans to use his ability to run
That's
that time.
exactly right, Dandy. He should have run that.
Yeah,
Receivers were covered like a blanket.
You'll see only 3 defensive Browns coming in there, and here's a big hole
in the middle.
Yeah, that's it. Now right there is a good zip.
That's right.
But he is trying to, the quarterback's number 1 priority in a pass is certainly to throw the ball, and he was trying to zero in there, trying to force the ball.
That was Bill Cowher on that deflection for Cleveland, filling in for an injured R.L. Jackson. 3rd down, 10 for the Bears. 80,000 Brown fans shouting defense.
Another situation to run.
And he made Evans gets the 1st down at the 5, and the flag goes down.
He does have some good quickness. I was not aware that he had that kind of speed.
Big play.
Great career at USC, as we talked about earlier tonight, but that quickness, that is a truly
tremendous asset.
Yeah, a great offensive weapon. The Bears have not had much offense
Gives
tonight.
you an extra dimension.
Personal foul against Cleveland.
And he could have done it on the prior play.
Well, he's probably listening to us. You know that?
Half the distance to the goal. It'll
Got
be
to help him.
1st and goal at the 2.
Personal foul, number 22, defense.
I don't think the hole was as big this time as it was the time before.
I don't either.
But again, he did make the move. There it is, right through the middle. Ambrose didn't see him coming. continued, made the first down, and the penalty followed.
And as we have pointed out, Cleveland has dominated this game thus far. But they only have the 13 points, and a Bear touchdown will put them right back in it. I think you saw the offsides as Walter Payton tried to go off the top. It looked as though a Bear had left early, and tippers begin to flare.
Such an unnecessary penalty. You know what the snap count is when you come out of the huddle, and when the offensive team jumps offside down there, it's just lack of composure.
It was either Lick or Jackson, I thought.
Makes no difference who it was.
The Bears will be backed up 5.
It does make a difference, too.
Illegal motion number 81. Offense, still first up.
Robin Earl tried to get that extra fraction of a second in on the block.
But you know what happened, Frank? Robin Earl wasn't really even figuring in that the point of attack block. He was out to the outside. The play was called up the middle. It's one of those excuses that I've heard many times. The coaches will go over and go over again. One of those unnecessary fouls.
First down, goal to go. The ball is at the 7. Evans on the rollout.
That's what I'd do.
Evans in the end zone.
You bet.
It's a ball game.
Vince Evans principally running the ball on this drive. He got the first down and goal, and he takes it in from the 7-yard line. And this crowd of over 80,000 is all of a sudden quieted considerably.
See, a pretty good move to the outside. It is the option runner throw. Payton is going to be the intended receiver down there. But with this kind of speed, this kind of running ability, he didn't think twice. He headed for that corner.
That was a beautiful block by Roland Harper out in front. Bob Thomas. Snaggle places the ball down, and the Bears have drawn to within 6. So in a game dominated by Cleveland throughout most of 3 quarters, the Bears are all of a sudden back in it. We'll be back at a jam-packed Cleveland Stadium in a moment.
This is
Back at Cleveland Stadium, and what a startling turn of events for the Cleveland Brown fans. Bears now within 6 points. Bob Thomas will kick off. Keith Wright, 89. Dino Hall, 26 are deep. And we will see Dino Hall, 5'7", 165-pounder. And he's hammered out at the 25, the 27-yard line.
You called it a startling turn of events. Witness this. 2 first downs for the Bears, Dandy, in the entire first half. 8 first downs for the Bears in the 3rd quarter. And the number of penalties,
16.
16.
At the 27-yard line, Cleveland trots out the offensive unit. They have gone back and forth, up and down the field, but they have not been able to get in when they got down close. Charles White, the tailback for the Browns. And Sipe under pressure, and the Bears are starting to really come on, and Sipe is a little slow getting up. Blitz was on. Jerry Muckenstern was in there, and Dan Hampton once again.
Frank, they're really working over that Cleveland offensive line, which had only allowed 6 sacks on the whole season going into this game. Fewest sacks in the league.
See Pruitt trying to go in and throw some kind of block on Muckenstern, but really, I think we've all mentioned the Bears have such a multiple faceted defense. They show so many looks, it's awfully hard to prepare for that. They'll throw different blitzes at you. They didn't pick it up that time.
2nd down and 10. The ball at the 28-yard line. The Bears showing blitz again. Hand off to Mike Pruitt, and Mike Pruitt out over the 30-yard line for a gain of a couple. Give him 3. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
What a big down this is for Cleveland. They're almost desperate now to reestablish their offensive momentum.
Bears, of course, desperately need this game. A loss tonight, and they could just about wave goodbye to their division, the Central Division of the NFC. Detroit sitting comfortably on top with a 6-3 record. Minnesota is 4-5. Tampa Bay 4-4-1, and Green Bay 3-5-1. 3rd down, 7. Rucker is up at the top of your screen. Sight intended for Charles White, and it's deflected and knocked down, and the Browns will punt.
And so the Bears may get reasonably decent field position again. And Evans continues to use the run in that dimension. Cleveland's in deep trouble.
That's when they're relying on either one phase of your game, whether it's the run or the pass. If they can block that one up, you're going to stumble a little bit. That time, Jim Osborne was the guy that deflected the ball, number 68.
Lenny Walterscheid for the Bears at his own 30-yard line. Johnny Evans to punt for Cleveland. Evans really hammers this one. It's going to take Walterscheid all the way back inside his 15-yard line. And Johnny Evans, with a brilliant punt, drives the Bears deep into their own territory when it looked like they were going to have excellent field position. They'll have the ball at their 18-yard line as the gun sounds the end of the third quarter. You're watching another exclusive of ABC Sports. Cleveland over the Bears 13-7. Will return for the fourth quarter in just a moment.
Even after Johnny Evans has kicked a 56-yard punt, this is an example you can never be too safe out on the football field. He says, hey, that was not bad. I did okay, but all of a sudden, the referee says the quarter's over, shoots his gun, and Evans said, wait a minute, not me. What do you mean? That's the end of the quarter?
Johnny Evans came through with a 56-yard punt. The Bears have the football at their own 18-yard line. We begin the fourth quarter. The Bears down by 6, 13-7. Evans to the air. Almost. And fires one out, and a flag is dropped.
That's at Burrell again.
33-yard line. Intended for James Scott. Clinton Burrell was there battling for the football, and a flag is down.
Tell you, pretty good reaction by Burrell. He gave him just enough. I guess it was interference, though, was it?
Interference. Number 49. Defense. First off.
Well, it is good reaction.
Well, he was. It was good reaction. What he had his effort misdirected.
What's the end of the play here, Don?
Well,
make your own judgment.
Well, I don't know anything about pass interference, but you see.
That's what you said the first game we ever did in this stadium.
Well, I still don't know. Evidently, that time he made body contact a little too early.
And he did, and that was a good call. He knocked James Scott's shoulder away from the ball and took away his opportunity to catch it. The 1st and 10 on the pass interference at the 33-yard line of the Bears. Big Robin Earl in motion. Evans. Ricky Watts is down there and is taken by a Cleveland Brown. Did he hold on? Ron Bolton was down there.
I think that's the man.
Ron Bolton, who's having a great year for Cleveland, took it out of the hands of Ricky Watts.
They now regard him as the top defensive back. They emphasize the point.
It was one of those things where you see the pass being run, and right there they slowed up just a little. So if the ball had been thrown another 3 or 4 yards, it could have gone over Ron Bolton's head. Right there you see Watts slow down a little bit. So the ball was underthrown, I'd say 3 or 4 or 5 yards. Good defensive interception, though.
But notice Bolton fumbled it for just the briefest instant, kept his concentration, held on to the football as he went down. A great play.
Cleveland with the football at their own 16-yard line.
A pretty good punt, wasn't it?
Reggie Rucker in motion. Sight with a lot of time, but no receivers. And that was all picked off by Terry Schmidt.
There's Ron Bolton. You've come a long way, fella.
Did a good job right there. Looked like to me that last play the Browns were trying to set up a little screen pass, which the Bears read very well. He was able to bounce out of his pocket, look for a receiver. Desperation throw, but it was almost picked off by Schmidt.
2nd down and 10. Logan split out to the left. Reggie Rucker, there he is, top of your screen. Those are your wide receivers. Charles White is in at setback from the 25. They draw by sight. And open open man is Newsome, and Sipe with a lot of time finds Newsome out to the 37-yard line.
You're right, he had a lot of time, but he's got the guts of a burglar down there on his 10-yard line, throwing for the second time in a row.
Even a second-story burglar. Those are really tough to get him a second story. I think, and look at Alan Page come right at him. Another thing, though, is give Newsome again credit for continuing on his route. One of the worst things that can happen to a quarterback when he's trapped back there and trying to hustle around is the receivers stop running. You saw Newsome then still move all the way across the field. He was able to pick him up late and pick up the first down.
Ball marked at the 38-yard line.
Our friend Newsome has 5 receptions for 97 yards.
He finds an opening and out over the 45 to the 46, a gain of 8. Jerry Muckensturm on the stop. Moving over the right side over R.E. Jackson and Cody Risen.
Terrific change of pace when you're able to pop a quick trap up the middle, pick up 8 or 9 yards.
On first down.
Yeah, then you got to say, okay, wait a minute, they don't just pass. They do run the ball. That's a nice little balance to try to throw in there.
At the 46. We're in the fourth quarter. The Browns have a precarious lead of 6 points. Mike Pruitt gets the first down, and he's into Chicago Bear territory at the 47, taken there by Lenny Walterscheid and Gary Finsick.
They don't call the Browns the Cardiac Kids for nothing.
They do make it interesting.
They sure
last
do.
year, 12 out of 16 games were won, not in the final minutes, but in the final minute. Or they were decided, not won. They were decided in the final minute of play.
Well, when you look at the prior series, Sipe continuing to throw, almost picked off for what could have been a Bears touchdown. They give you a thrill a minute.
Sipe with another first down. Charles White cuts back against the grain. Gets about 7 out to the 41-yard line. Lee Coons in there first for the Bears.
What a good pickup on. As you said, Don, they do have a running game.
I think they caught the Bears that time. I saw both the safeties rolling back into a deep zone. They were anticipating some sort of a pass. Oftentimes that happens. The Cypher Bowl. That's a new way of putting it, isn't it? Yes, why not?
Pickup of 6 by White. It'll be second down and 4. Logan. A short split to the left, bottom of your screen. Inside to Mike Pruitt, and Mike Pruitt close to a first down. He'll be perhaps a yard short at the 37-yard line.
Frank, once again, it's my pleasure. We have just a brief pause here in the game to let the fans know that this telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. Now, it's intended for the private use of our audience. Now, any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the expressed written consent of the National Football League is prohibited. Thank you very much.
All right, the Browns, third down and a yard to go.
Don't think I've ever heard it done that way.
Thank you. I work on it week to week. All
Leo
right.
Miller, right side, and he spins out, gets the first down easily down inside the 35-yard line, and Cleveland holds on to the football. And an interesting stat that Brian Sipe has put together. His last completion to Ozzie Newsome broke the great Otto Graham's record for total yards. Sipe now 13,500 yards. Otto Graham, of course, voted the quarterback of the decade of the 50s with a career mark of 13,499.
Well, now that is an extraordinary record. How about that? I didn't even know it was close. That's great.
First and 10. Rucker in motion. Mike Pruitt. The workhorse as Cleveland tries to maintain ball control. Gets a yard and a half. It'll be second down and 8. Jerry Muckensturm again defensively as Neil Armstrong consults with his staff.
Cleo Miller was the name out of the pass. You remember a few years ago we were here when one of the Pruitts was hurt. Cleo came in. I think he gained 100 yards on one of these nights.
He is not the worst reserve in the world. Backup running back. He had done duty with the Chiefs, hadn't he, Frank?
Leo Miller. Yeah, I think he did. He came in here as a free agent, but way back in '74. Ball marked at the 34. So it's second down and 9, and Calvin Hill is in the lineup. Sipe wants Calvin Hill, and he's there. to the 13. Calvin Hill. Timing pass from Sipe. It was right on target.
Not only that, he screened his body so beautifully against the defender.
Well, example you don't know is Lee Kuntz is covering. We'll watch number 57. You see Calvin coming right toward us, number 35. He sees the ball again. It's a little bit underthrown. He has the ability to stop, come right back. Kuntz kept going. That is a terrific effort. Calvin, nice going, fella.
Calvin's third reception of the night. Sipe calling for the fans to quiet. First down, the toss to Charles White. And down goes White near the 12-yard line. A gain of a couple. It'll be second down and 8. Doug Deacon, whom we saw go out of the action in the first half of this game, a great offensive lineman for the Cleveland Browns. He's had his checkup, and he's returned to watch his teammates, but as you can see, he is wearing a pair of crutches. Doug Deacon.
It's his ankle, Frank. Art Modell told me at halftime he's worried to death.
They'll afford the loss of Doug Deacon, a Pro Bowler from a year ago. Second down and 8. Sipe. Charles White holds on and is spun out of bounds near another Brown first down. I believe he has it inside the 3-yard line.
That was just a situation where the ball was really beautifully thrown. This is also kind of a dangerous area to work. You're out in that flat, so the ball has to be right on the money.
Sipe has supreme confidence in his arm. We saw him a moment ago passing from down around his own 12-yard line. He doesn't mind putting it up anywhere.
That was Walter's shot out there. Charlie White did have a step on him, but once again, the angle from which Sipe was working, that ball has to be right on the money.
Cleveland Browns, a lot of character in this football team. They're battling a tough defensive unit of the Chicago Bears. White. And no extended arms of the officials, so White is piled up at the goal line. And the Chicago Bear is shaken up in the end zone.
And of course, in this whole drive, Cleveland working the clock against the Bears.
Down to 7:53 remaining in this game. A very important 7:53 for the Chicago Bears. They're all 3 games behind Detroit with a loss tonight.
Again, it's easy to see up here. It looks to me that Charlie White would cut to the outside. He's trying to go for that goal line. But with his speed, he could have gone maybe for that corner. Came in there. He saw that double stripe, went for it. As we see, that was Buckensturm that we saw slightly shaken up back in the end zone for the Bears. Now being replaced.
It'll be second down and goal, and the ball inside the 1-yard line. Buckensturm appears to be all right. Over 83,000 fans.
83,224. Biggest crowd in the NFL this year. Fans here dreaming of a Super Bowl.
Second and goal. Cleveland on top, 13-7. They could help themselves considerably with the score here. Touchdown, Mike Pruitt, the workhorse on the ground for the Browns all night, going against a tough Chicago defense.
You got to be impressed with that. Close to an 85-yard drive right after the other team scores.
Marvelous drive in the clutch. The Cardiac kids do it again.
But they did it in little bits and pieces. They pick up a first down passing. Then they'd come back and run a couple of times. Pick up another first down.
John Cockcroft for the conversion. And these fans love it. A standing ovation for the Cleveland Browns, who have just extended their lead over the Chicago Bears. 7:29 remaining in this game. Those were 69 tough yards against a very tough Chicago defense by Mike Pruitt. Banging in from inside the 1 to help the Browns cause considerably.
And he is a very tough kid.
Rain falling once again here at Cleveland Stadium. They will not dampen the spirits of the Cleveland Browns. As Howard said, they are dreaming of a Super Bowl. A tough road ahead, however. They'll be in Baltimore next Sunday. Then a week after that, they have to go in and play Pittsburgh again.
Anybody counts Pittsburgh out is, as I said on another occasion, an imbecile.
Yeah, I remember you said that.
With Houston, and they look like they might be going to go with an onside kick. And they do not. They gave us the ship, and then Cockcroft kicked away, and this is Matt Suhey. And Suhey almost pops it, moving out close to the 37-yard line. Cleveland last year, 9-7. They haven't been in the playoffs since 1972, and they lost to Miami, 20-14.
They were the team that almost beat Miami in their unbeaten season, and their quarterback was Mike Phipps. He hit Fair Hooker in the end zone, and they were briefly ahead.
Yes, I remember that.
Chicago now down 20-7. Vince Evans remains the quarterback, and he'll go to the air. Robin Earl is there at the 45-yard line. He struggles forward trying to reach first down yardage.
And get out of bounds, which I think he did both.
He did.
Yep. Clock at the 46-yard line with 7:11 remaining.
Short of the first down, but did stop the clock, I believe.
Clarence Scott defensively for Cleveland. Robin Earl, he's 6'5", 240 pounds. And he was a running back before the Bears converted him. Dave Williams comes in now, number 22. Out goes Roland Harper. Williams perhaps more adept at the passing game than Roland Harper. Second down and 1. Evans. It was a stop and go route that Ricky Watts switched up on him, and in any event, it did not fool the Cleveland Browns. Deep was Clarence Scott for the Browns, and Ron Bolton also.
I got to tell you, Vince was buried by Lyle Alzado and Bill Cowher.
It's a pass that takes a long time. He'll pump action right here. Now there's another second that the defenders have an opportunity to get to him, and they certainly did.
Big Lyle. Yeah, that little last pump that he got to go back. The stop, he was okay. The go, he went.
Third down 1. Short of the first down. Defensively, and a good tackle it was, number 24, Autry Beeman.
Terrific tackle, Autry.
It'll be fourth down, and you would suspect, of course, the Bears will be going for it.
East Texas State Commerce. That's not far from Mount Vernon.
Have you ever seen Peyton so frustrated, Frank?
Hey, the Cleveland Browns defense have held him to 31 yards, and he had one gain of 16 yards. Other than that, they have contained him to the outside beautifully. And this is not a powerful defense against the run, but they have done a job on Walter tonight. 4th and 1. Evans. Incomplete. Is it tipped to Robin Earl, and you see the flags all over. And I believe we will get an interference call. Ron Bolton, I believe, was up there along with Autry Beeman.
Yeah, I think Autry was still a little excited from that play before.
Well, he did hit him before the ball got there, and if that's not interference, I don't know what is.
But Beeman makes a superb play on a third down call, and he commits the foul against Earl.
It was the option runner pass, but actually they closed. Yeah, he says, I'm going to go after that ball, but I'm sorry, you're in my way, Robin Earl. Good call.
First down, 46-yard line of the Browns. 6:13 remaining in the game. 20-7. Cleveland over Chicago. Evans.
Nowhere close.
Overthrown. Roland Hopper. It'll be second down and 10.
There's the big guy, Ozzie Newsome. What a game you played, fella. Don't don't blame you for sweating.
Ozzie, of course, caught the touchdown pass a week ago to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Browns' first win over the Steelers since '76. Second down, 10. Evans tries to go to Walter Payton. Incomplete. And again, in the on-rushing Brown defense, Bill Cowher was in there on the blitz. Elvis Franks, designated pass rusher, if you will, for the Browns, was also in there.
It's one of those quick releases shot from the hip. I think he was planning to run. They blocked him off. He saw Walter try to get the ball to him quickly. Just didn't do it.
I got to tell you, I saw Kenny Stabler shoot from the hip yesterday and hit David Casper. Nobody can do it like Stabler when he does it.
We'll have a closer look next Monday.
Third down, 10. Evans.
All right.
He Watts, and he has the first down at the 30-yard line.
Hey, that was a biggie. 3rd and 10. Got him a first. Penalties down.
Flag is down again.
I tell you,
This is going to go against Cleveland. It's going to be a personal foul.
that's a biggie, too, for Chicago.
5:52 remaining in the game.
I don't know. Something's wrong here in the call of this game. We got 5:52 left. Walter Payton has been called upon to run only 11 times in this game.
Personal foul, illegal head slap, number 77, defense. First off.
Al Alzado had aspirations for boxing at one point in his career.
I remember it well. At this point in time, I can name some heavyweights he could beat.
Didn't he spar around with Muhammad Ali at one point?
He might be the favorite now.
First and 10. 16-yard line of the Browns. Evans, a lot of running room. And Evans piled up inside the 10. Goes to another Bear first down, a little bit short, but he saw the open field and took off.
I tell you, there's no quitting this kid, and there's no quitting this team. Look at him go, Don.
I think he's trying to get a little help from Walter Payton. He says, there's the guy. You block him, and I'll go, Walter. Walter went the wrong way. But he still picked it. Let's play Matthews 57 down there.
And Dick Ambrose finished it off.
Yep.
A little more than a yard to go for the first down. A gain of about 8 for Vince Evans. Seconds ticking away. Still a lot of the time if the Bears can get it in the end zone. Walter Payton, and another flag is down.
When you see that flag drop in the middle of the line, it's usually holding.
I'll tell you, that was vintage Walter Payton, though. He was hit at the line of scrimmage, bounced around, found a little opening, carried tacklers, and you saw the holding call indicated against Chicago.
Really bowled his way in. Too bad.
Difficult thing is that they were inside the 10, so it was first and goal.
Holding, number 52, offense, still second down.
Center Dan Neal holding. The down remains the same. It's second down now at 11 rather than the 6 points.
Look at that graphic. I tell you, I do not believe Earl Kemp.
No one else believes him either.
I watched him yesterday. The man is just in. Before he is done with this game, he'll have a very special place, not only in the record book, but in memories.
Chicago, the ball on Cleveland's 17-yard line, second and 11. Evans, Robin Earl cannot handle it at the 6-yard line. Defensively, Tom Garden was there.
Ball was not that badly thrown. It was certainly in the area. It was pretty good defensive coverage. Earl just couldn't hold on to it.
Play being sent in. Quick look at Neil Armstrong, the old Philadelphia Eagle, and of course assistant defensive coordinator under Bud Grant for so many years before coming to the Bears 3 years ago. Third down and 11. Ball at the 17. Schmegel split to the left. Number 84, Ricky Watts to the right. Blitz is on. Got it. Schmegel, touchdown, Chicago, and they're back in it once again with 4:45 remaining in the game. And again, a very cool Vince Evans, who seems to have settled down, doing what he does so well, taking off when his receivers are covered or he gets in a crowd. And that was a beautifully thrown ball.
That one was really well thrown. Working on Clinton Burrell over on the outside. Burrell was a little bit step or so behind. But again, the ball is thrown right on the money. Schmegel made a cut to the inside, moved to the outside. Burrell was just a step behind.
I'll tell you, it had to be thrown perfectly. Burrell not in that bad of position. Parsons. Ooh, that was a very important conversion for the Bears, and Parsons drills it through. And once again, Chicago has drawn to within 6. Vince Evans, touchdown pass to Schmegel. We'll be back. Back in Cleveland Stadium, 4:45 remaining in the game. Chicago down by 6, trailing Cleveland 20-14. There were huddles on either sidelines by both special units.
Well, now let's see what Cleveland does. I will look the touchdown again first.
Well, again, you're going to see that Burrell is not that far off in his defensive coverage. But it's just as we've seen it earlier, Schmegel made a good move to the outside, and the ball was right between the 8 and the 4.
Got to be impressed with the way Evans, after a miserable first half, has come back. Kept his cool, not given up, driven his team to that score.
Cleveland is thinking onside kick. They have one man back, Dino Hall. They have the other 10 men all in front of their 40-yard line.
I would be surprised if they do kick onside.
Too early for an onside kick, don't you think, Don?
Well, more important than that, if they moved into a field goal situation, I think that might put it away. I just think this is kind of maybe even a dangerous setup for Cleveland. They've only got one receiver back there. Well, what do I know? What are you laughing about, Frank?
Oh, I was just chuckling. Bob Parsons, he was in all kinds of confusion out there a moment ago. He's now going to pound it, kicks it away. Dino Hall is there at his 10-yard line.
I don't think I'd have kicked it right to him.
But Dino Hall slammed to the turf at the 35-yard line. And now, of course, Cleveland has to think ball control.
And they must go all out, Frank. They can't just play conservatively, run it into the line 3 times, and give up the ball. They've got to play their game, Don.
All right, then he'll throw on first down.
No, maybe not. But I wouldn't. He did. You remember earlier on the drive that built up their lead again to 13 points.
Brian Sight. Cool, calm, confident. First down, 10. Ball at his own 35-yard line. He has a 6-point lead. Mike Pruitt. And Pruitt stops the clock as he goes out of bounds at the 39-yard line, taken there by Lenny Walterscheid. Gain of about 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
Not a bad first down gain. Walterscheid, by the way, not one of the more noted Bears, has been all over the field tonight.
There he is. He was hurt earlier in the year, had an ankle problem. He's playing in there tonight for Doug Plank, and he has played some superb football. 2nd down, 6. Reggie Rucker, split to the right. Dave Logan, bottom of your screen. Charles White, 25. Mike Pruitt, 43. The setbacks.
It's the passing formation. Quick shot. Rucker.
And Rucker could have picked up the first down. He elected to spin out to the outside, and Terry Schmidt, along with Gary Finsick, made the stop short of the first down.
He lost his head for just an instant. Not usual for a veteran ball player. You will see him on the replay loop backwards after the catch.
He's had a lot of success in this kind of move earlier, but I think that time he kind of outguessed himself. You're right. He still makes it almost to a first down. They're less than a yard away.
And the two tight ends are in. Newsom with Donald Odom. Cleo Miller comes in at setback. And this is Mike Pruitt. Pruitt has the first down and a big opening. He can break it. Goodbye. Third down, less than a yard. Mike Pruitt takes it all the way. 56 yards for a touchdown.
Remember, Frank, I said earlier, give him a short yardage situation, he can bust it. And that's exactly what he did.
Mike Pruitt, who gets better each year.
The Pontiac kids.
Well, you do see it happen a lot. The Bears were grouped up in the middle. They had a little lead block by Cleo Miller to the outside. Pruitt had one block, and there he goes. You're not going to catch him.
And the big man at 225 pounds obviously can really ramble. Don Cockcroft for the conversion. And again, Cleveland moves out on top by 13 points. We have 3:35 remaining in the game. And the fans at Cleveland Stadium are going wild. Pruitt, 56 yards of those on a third and short. For the longest run from scrimmage for the Cleveland Browns this year. You're right, you're number one tonight.
One of the dullest first halves we've ever had, and it exploded into a good football game in the second half.
Dave Williams is back for the Bears, and Don Cockcroft will kick off. Williams from his 12-yard line. And Williams, spinning like a top, moves out to the 29-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for Chicago, and they're running out of time.
It is their longest run of the year, but you made a good point. They throw an awful lot. Right there, just made a quick break. It does happen an awful lot in those short yardage situations. Everybody gets in there, and nobody covers the flanks. And there he runs. 225 pounds of dynamite.
I'll tell you, a 13-point lead now by the Cleveland Browns, and I don't think anyone has left this stadium. They're used to these Browns putting on a late-minute show. Well, let's see what Chicago can do. Evans, Watts, complete out near midfield.
And a good throw.
And the Bears come right back.
They're going to give him plenty of room. That's not a bad pattern because he's coming down. It's a deep turn in, 15, 20 yards. They don't get a particularly good pass rush this time. Evans has some time, and boy, there's a good example of a good strong arm. That one was thrown right on the old clothesline, all the way down. Ricky Watts.
Second-year man out of Tulsa. He was troubled with injuries early in the year.
Got a lot of good young players.
And a rookie year, sensational last few games. On 1st and 10, Evans again. Ball to Payton. And Payton just refuses to go down. He is so strong. It's hard to believe sometimes. He's close to another Bear first down.
Charlie Hall was the linebacker out there assigned to cover Payton. That's a pretty good assignment.
Yes, lovely. And meanwhile, the key element is 2:41 left, Giff.
3 timeouts for the Bears. Payton gets the first down inside the 40-yard line of the Browns. Split out to the left. Ricky Watts to the right. Pressure on Evans, but he gets it off to the rookie from SMU, Bob Fisher. Fisher has another first down, and the Bears now will have to hurry. Ball inside the 27-yard line of Cleveland. And now the Bears need a quick one. They will use one of their timeouts, one of those precious timeouts.
Yes, but it's the intelligent time to do it with the 2-minute warning coming up, Giff.
Vince Evans moves over to the sidelines where he'll be counseled. Bears will have 2 timeouts remaining, 2:16 on the clock, and we'll be back. Vince Evans steps into the Chicago Bear huddle. They desperately need this game tonight. Detroit with a 6-3 record in the Central Division of the NFC. Chicago would fall 3 games behind with a loss tonight. 1st and 10. Walter Payton. And Payton taken to the turf at the 20-yard line. We will get the 2-minute warning. The Bears would like to get a play underway, but they will be unable to do so. And there it is. Payton picked up a couple of yards, or rather 8 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 2. There's a 2-minute warning. And once again, Evans will go to the sidelines and will be returning to Cleveland in a moment. Back in Cleveland Stadium is still a capacity house. The Bears have the football at the Browns' 19-yard line. 2nd down and 2. 2 minutes remain in the game. The Bears have 2 timeouts. Browns have never trailed in this game. That reference, of course, by the adoring Cleveland fans to the past history of the Cleveland Browns. They have nicknamed them the Cardiac Kids for obvious reasons. They seem to play in so many of these games that are decided in the final 2 seconds. Evans, a lot of time. The receiver decides to run and gets inside the 17-yard line. Now the Bears with the hurry-up offense.
Good drop-off tackle by Henry Bradley that time. Number 91. Evans, if he'd had one more step, could have gotten down close to the 5. The Bears made 2 first downs in the first half, have come back in the second half with 17. That shows you a little difference in their offensive performance.
Evans does not get the first down. 3rd and 1. Over the middle and is complete to Dave Williams. That's good enough for the first down, but the seconds are ticking away. Ball down at the 12-yard line. 1:20 and the clock is moving. Walter Payton, and he cannot get out of bounds as he struggles to close to the 5-yard line. Now they'll mark it at the 6. That's where his knee hit after he was hit by Ambrose. Now we are close to 1 minute.
They're saving their timeouts. Don't save them any longer.
And the Bears use one of their timeouts. They have 1 remaining. Once again, I'd like to call your attention that on the last 2 national election nights, ABC News accurately called more of the results first, more than the other 2 networks combined. And tomorrow, join ABC News for up-to-the-minute election returns with Frank Reynolds, Ted Koppel, Barbara Walters, Max Robinson, and, of course, the entire 80-vote team of correspondents. Plus, you'll get the expert insight and analysis of political columnists Tom Wicker and George Will, and that'll be moderated by Robert McNeil of the McNeil-Lehrer Report. So for different, innovative election night coverage, the way you've never seen it before, watch ABC News Election Night returns tomorrow. And it'll begin at 7 p.m.
Actually, that's the day back here on the East Coast. We've already oozed into Election Day, and no matter what you do or who you vote for, vote. That's the day. Got to go do it.
Whatever you say.
That's what I say. Got to go vote.
Brian Sipe, who pressured considerably more than he had been throughout the first 8 games of the season tonight by the Bears defense. The Bears defense keeping Chicago in this game through a very listless first half for them offensively. And out trots Vince Evans. Second down and 4. The ball at the 6-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. The Bears have 1 timeout. They need the score. They need an onside kick. And then they'll have to hang it up and hope. Evans. And Clinton Burrell, and they're saying no. They're saying no. Evans had stepped out of bounds back at the 10-yard line.
Well, I didn't see that at all, but he did change his mind, but he had a lot of help from the Cleveland Browns, who, where did he step? Right there.
Right there.
Little tippy toe on there. Inadvertently.
I'll tell you, these officials might have called a lot of penalties tonight, but they have really been on top of a couple of key items. Yeah, they keep their cool, and they do a whale of a job by and large, and they take a lot of abuse. 3rd and 7, the ball's at the 9-yard line. 53 seconds. Stacked up is Walter Payton down to the 6-yard line. And the final timeout is called by Chicago.
Play Matt Matthews was out there on the coverage of Peyton.
It's Evans again will trot over to the sidelines. The Bears are running out of time. 43 seconds remaining in the game. The Bears season in jeopardy. 4th down and 4. The ball on the 6-yard line of the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland leading 27-14. Timeouts. Robin Earl into the end zone with 37 seconds remaining.
Well, they gave it all they had, but you put it right, Frank. The season is in jeopardy. It would take a miracle now for them to win this game, and falling 3 behind with 7 left to play seems almost an insuperable task. There's the replay as Robin Earl went in.
You mentioned the game early in the season. Was it the opening game?
The opening game may have cost them the season. Chester Markle's kick blocked in the overtime. Back to Markle. He ran left for the touchdown.
Flags fly. Bob Thomas drills it through. Cleveland offsides. It appeared. And the Cleveland Browns stays on the turf.
Now then.
Offsides, number 20, defense. The point is good. 5-yard penalty on the kickoff.
Now then, I'll bet you see that onside kick.
Slim hope for Chicago. Of course,
If we don't.
they obviously will go for the onside kick.
A delayed sort of pattern by Robin Earl from the tight end position. You see him there blocking in the middle, then coming across. Good protection, set it up. It looked like he knocked off some of his coverage. Probably a linebacker in the middle, wide open to the outside. You wonder where those plays were earlier tonight. The big change, of course, for them. In the first half, they had hardly any offense. You see Walter Payton on the sideline. Certainly a subpar day for Walter. But you've got to give the Cleveland defense credit. They never really did get in a position to use Walter very well tonight. They were in the hole, seemed like from the very beginning. Second half came back, they were playing catch-up ball all night.
He never could turn the corner. They strung him out all night.
His longest run was 16 yards, is that correct?
And, of course, the Browns have all of their sure-handed people in the lineup. Receivers on either flank, anticipating the onside kick. Bob Thomas huddled with his Chicago Bear kickoff unit. The penalty assessed for the offsides, and that means that Thomas will be kicking from the Bears' 40-yard line. Reminder once again that we will be in Houston for Houston and New England next Monday night, and that should be a beauty.
Going back to Houston. Houston.
Solitary figure of Dino Hall. He's not anticipating that he's going to receive the football. 37 seconds remaining. The Bears have no more timeouts.
I think they may kick to their left.
I think they may. Has to go 10 yards. And handled there by Cleveland. And one offensive play should just about do it. The Bears cannot stop the clock. It was Judson Flint from Memphis State.
See you in Houston, big guy.
I'll see you in Houston. I'm looking for the Pats will be there. They're a good football team.
If they're not,
I have a scoop. Thank you very much.
there are the standings, updated. And don't for a minute count the Pittsburgh Steelers out.
I know, because if I did, I'd be an imbecile.
Cleveland has to play Houston again, play Pittsburgh again, and Cincinnati twice. Brian Sight drops to the turf. Chicago cannot stop the clock.
And there, the NFC Central. Detroit in good position, and yet Tampa Bay resurgent. And Minnesota off its victory over Washington, not to be discounted.
For Neil Armstrong, a tough loss and a tough remainder of the season. For Sam Rutigliano, hope for a possible title here in Cleveland this year. They haven't been to the playoffs since 1972. Once again, the final score. Cleveland 27, Chicago 21. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. That's what Friendly Skies are all about. Remember to stay tuned 30 minutes after the game for ABC News Nightline, 11:30 on the West Coast. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television. The Cleveland Browns win their 4th in a row. We'll be back.
Thursday.